What do the Russians have on Donald Trump, politically, financially?
Bury the bottle, Nancy, it's justice time.
Even on one side, you've got basically a normal candidate. On the other side, you've got a walking, talking crime wave.
You can scream, but nobody cares. 'Cause you're done. Exposing you is so fun. America longs for justice. Leaders from hell, so many things wrong. Feed us some debunked intel. Your puppets lie. America, you have BJ, time to pay the price. You scream, but no one cares. This time, accountable for your crimes. No treason too small. Condemn.
Doesn't really show the kind of leadership and toughness that you want out of a president. Then you don't have what it takes to be in this job. There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections. I'd advise Mr. Trump to stop whining.
FBI director now says the Bureau ran 4 secret counterintelligence operations from 2016 to 2025 that monitored over 1,000 Trump associates, journalists, lawmakers, and advisors. This makes Nixon look like child's play. Some of these probes are now under civil rights review. The same institutions that tell you trust the system are quietly admitting the system has been used to spy on political movements.
Every single day, it's like, which chapter of Revelation are we living through today? And this is the chapter where the holiest sites in Jerusalem get destroyed. You can see here an Iranian ballistic missile taking a massive chunk out of the walls of Jerusalem's old city. These walls were built by King David. These walls are in the shadow of the Temple Mount. The Al-Aqsa Mosque sits on the old Temple Mount. And you can see here, it's just like literally a few city blocks from being completely destroyed. Now, these bombings have taken place non-stop. You can see all of the bombs flying over the holiest sites in all of Jerusalem. Every square foot of Jerusalem, frankly, is a holy site. They've shut down the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. They've shut down Al-Aqsa Mosque, otherwise known as the Dome in the Rock, and the Western Wall. All of these are the holiest sites in Christendom, Islam, and Judaism collectively. And you can imagine that the reason why people are very concerned about this is because in order to usher in the Antichrist and Armageddon, you know, the third temple needs to be desecrated according to Revelation. And so a third temple would need to be built here on the Temple Mount, presumably. This is what some people believe. And that third temple, I don't know. I guess it would look like the second temple, which is right here. And so they need to get rid of this mosque. It's been a mosque for hundreds of years. And would a ballistic missile from Iran be one of the ways that they would get rid of this mosque and then build a third temple, ushering in sort of the era of the Antichrist? Well, that's what has people really concerned right now as they're watching all of this unfold. It's perilous. It's very dangerous for people, obviously, in Jerusalem. And they've shut down the major worshiping sites across the city. Many are furious about that. It's a tinderbox, and it's something that we're going to be watching, because I guess you're seeing history unfold before our very eyes. Keep praying.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it. In the last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon. Luckily, no one was killed, but that's due to luck, not their intention. Their intention is to murder civilians. Second, they fired on Jerusalem right next to the holy sites of the 3 monotheistic faiths: the Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And by dint of a miracle again, none of them were hurt, but they were targeting the holy sites of the 3 major monotheistic religions. Third, they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile on Diego Garcia. That's 4,000 kilometers. I've been warning all the time. They have now the capacity to reach deep into Europe. They already have fired on a European country, Cyprus. They are putting everyone in their sights. And fourth, they're stopping a maritime international route, energy route, and trying to blackmail the entire world. What more proof do you need?
Hey, what's up, y'all? What y'all doing? Trump, you one smart motherfucker. I bet they get their ass in that room now and make a deal.
Fox News alert, President Trump just posting this on Truth Social, quote, if the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before.
I bet those lines be so fucking short you can breeze through it in 1 minute. Trump, you should have did this idea a long time ago. A long time ago.
Including the immediate arrest of all illegal immigrants who have come into our country.
Truck shoemaker, you better get off the toilet and pull up your diaper. Because Trump changed the game right up under your nose. The Democrats got their panties in a bunch. Y'all didn't see that backfiring, huh? Nobody seen that coming. Not even me. Trump said if you don't want them at the battle box, they gonna be at the airports waiting on their asses. Hide your kids and hide your wives. If y'all don't have no passport, you won't be on that flight. You'll be on another flight. Going in the opposite direction. I bet everybody canceling their tickets trying to get on the train now, huh? I told y'all Democrats in my last video. Y'all know Trump is Teflon, okay? He's not gonna crack. You're gonna give in before he give in. He just gonna make up a new way. Now Elon is back on the scene talking about he gonna fund TSA employees. Welcome back, Elon. Good to see you. And the moral of the story is, Democrats, Trump didn't need y'all after all. He killed 3 birds with 1 stone. He got ICE helping the TSA employees with the lines. He deporting illegal immigrants at the same time. Then he got Elon with the money to pay for the employees. And you telling me Trump ain't no smart motherfucker? Democrats, y'all can set this one out. Trump got it covered.
Something that I want to play with your evil inside. Wanting, letting go of what never could be. I'm getting lost and alone, imprisoned and now inside of your mind. With the way you tried to destroy me again, you were waiting and living for no one. With the way you tried to completely all your life, being and you're nothing, you'll never live after me. Awaken you with a little evil inside. Being and you're nothing, you'll never live after me. I'm stricken you. I don't wanna live with the lie. Being and you're nothing, and you'll never live after me. Awaken you. Stripped of life alone, in the midst of something that I want to play with your evil inside. Wanting, letting go, and what never could be. I'm getting lost and alone, imprisoned and now inside of your mind. With the way you tried to destroy me again, you were waiting and living for no one. With the way you tried nothing just wash away, making it wrong. There isn't a thing that I can do. Watching this whole thing just wash away, making it long, making you strong. Awaken you with a little evil inside. Being nothing you'll never live after me. I'm strict in you. I don't wanna live with the lie. Being nothing and you'll never live after me.
Mr. Trump, one of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
President Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, "If the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before." Now, in a subsequent post, he said that he instructed ICE agents to be ready by Monday. And now the president is saying that you, sir, are going to be in charge. How is that going to work? Are ICE agents going to move into American airports starting tomorrow, Monday?
Yes. And I'm currently working on the plan now of execution, working with the director of ICE and the administrator at TSA, the acting administrator. So we'll put together a plan today and we'll execute tomorrow.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions here. First of all, are ICE agents even remotely trained to handle security at airports?
ICE agents receive a high level of training. And, you know, the ICE agents are assigned at many airports across the country already. They do a lot of criminal investigation on smuggling at airports. But, you know, there's got TSA agents covering exits, you know, people that enter through the exits. You know, certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit, makes people don't go through those exits, entering the airport through the exits, and that stuff like that relieves that TSA officer to go to screening and to reduce those lines. So wherever we can provide extra security, I don't see an ICE agent looking at an X-ray machine because they're not trained in that. But there are certain parts of security that TSA is doing, and we can move them off those jobs and put them in the specialized jobs, help move those lines.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. So what you're saying is when you move ICE into airports, they're going to be just around the exits and the exteriors. They're not going to be helping people get through the lines and screening people's bags.
Those discussions are going on now. I'm not expert at TSA, so that's why I'm talking to the TSA administrator and the ICE director, find out where we can fit in. We'll have a plan by the end of today where we're sending what airports we're starting with and where we're sending them. But that's a discussion we're having right now. I mean, I ended the discussion to do the show, and I'll be back having those discussions when I finish. So it's a work in progress, but we will be at the airports tomorrow helping TSA move those lines along.
It's an important story because corporate media, a lot of the times when they speak about Iranian sleeper cells, they throw the American public off. And then now the American public doesn't know what to believe.
That's a good warm up right there. Oh my God. Oh my God. Welcome to Qschqql, everybody. This one's gonna blow your freaking minds. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope you're well rested and your batteries are recharged and ready to rock and roll because whew, man, our heads are spinning in the backgrounds getting ready for this Qschqql today. And it's gonna be one of those a real mind twister for everybody that has been following us for a while, but we are going to think outside the box today. We are going to think logically. We are going to connect some more dots in regards to Mueller, who passed away on Friday, which is pretty interesting how it hits and smacks a lot of the deltas. But I'm excited for today's Qschqql with the title "Optics Are Important." Just saying. How you doing, Kyle? How you doing, Melzie?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Thank you guys for the comments. See you guys trickling in there. Thank you so much. Good to see y'all. Love, love, love. Happy, beautiful Monday, whatever day we're on here. So thank you guys. Man, it's pretty wild too. There's so much going on. But yeah, I kind of stepped away this weekend. It was good though. Hopefully you guys are following your rhythms and stuff. Slowing down if you need. It's we had the new moon. We had the spring equinox too. So some of you might feel called to do detoxes or clean your space up is always a good idea. Or throw stuff away you don't need anymore. That kind of stuff too. So we also are doing that in our personal lives, and we're doing it out in the country, right? We're getting rid of this fraud. We're getting rid of the bullshit, and so we can make space for something beautiful and better. And that's the golden age of America. So, booyah, let's do this shit.
Hoorah! Yeah, let's go. And of course today we are going to focus on Robert Mueller, big part of the so-called Russiagate, all the conspiracy cases that are still ongoing right now. We just had a fresh new subpoena from the grand jury impaneled out of Florida against Comey just last week. So as we move forward, we're going to see more unfolding news, breaking declassified information coming out in a drip style. But yeah, you're going to see these treasonous, seditious scumbags being taken down one at a time, and it will be ready for public consumption. That's also based in the Q drops that we read Friday. But man, when it comes to someone like, when you look at all the pieces on the chessboard, I know over the years we've talked about Graham, we've talked a lot about Snowden. A lot of us haven't really talked a whole lot about Robert Mueller. And when you go to the Q Intel, go to the Q drops, brothers and sisters, on Q alerts, when you type in Mueller, you get 142 of those babies coming at you on full screen.
That's
and when
crazy.
you start, it gives me chills when you start reading them. And we're going to read some. We can't go through all 142. You guys can do that as Qschqql homework, and try to piece it together the way that we're trying to piece it together. But sometimes those who you think are bad are good. Just keep that in mind. And those who you think are good are bad. And these are the moves and counter moves. And as Melzie said just before we went live, what's that one saying about what makes a good movie, Melzie?
Great actors.
Great actors.
Everybody always says that the great actors, but there's also great storyline too, right? You got the hero's arc too. He rises, he falls, loses the 2020 election, comes. We got the Anons too. We've been beaten and battered through the whole thing. We got the best music, we got the best story, we got the best script, we got the best actors. We got the whole thing. So it's really beautiful to observe that. And I think a lot of people that have been with us a while understand, but in case there's new people out there, we're helping you. The Q drops are showing us, and in a nutshell, I guess if we put in the big picture in simple words, is a lot of this stuff was done a long time ago because we only had a short amount of window in time to execute the most important military operation in the history of the world, which not only would be extracting and eradicating the cabal and their power networks and their global blackmail scheme and everything, along with waking up the public in a way that wouldn't disrupt them or literally cause mass loss of life or other things, or stopping an entire country because people don't want to go to work anymore or what have you. So all this stuff had to happen at a warp speed that we don't know about, and now it's playing out publicly. And then while it's playing out publicly, there's still these other wars and stuff we don't know about too. So did this thing really happen with Israel? We're gonna, like, that was some interesting highlights there with from Haydon. We're definitely gonna address some of that. I think we'll hit a little bit today if we can. Maybe we'll go more to that whole topic later this week or something too. We'll see how things unfold. But there's just the key thing though with this is don't get too caught up in the characters in the movie, right? We got to be able to let everyone go. They're all playing different roles, and we love some, we hate some, but you gotta also just let go of that and see read between the lines, because really I was actually telling Melzie about movie stuff, like the fourth wall, and one of these anons posted that. When are we going to break the fourth wall? Meaning, when are the people going to interact with the movie? Meaning, we want to stop because you're doing a movie. It's going to keep going on until we're done with it. But that's what's happening here. And then the characters on the stage, like I said, don't get too caught up. And Tim talks about a lot too, like the kayfabe thing. That's a wrestling term for, I hate this guy, but really I don't. You know what I mean?
It's like a wrestling match. That's how they design and orchestrate these. Especially in the old days when wrestling became really, really popular in the beginning. You remember all the different characters that were coming into the ring and battling each other, including Hulk Hogan, right? Which is one of our beautiful Patriots we lost last year. But I mean, that was all by design. The whole thing was designed for entertainment purposes, right? And they always knew who was going to win those matches. And in this case, too, Kyle, I'm glad you covered that, because what's important to understand and why we're so calm, cool, and collected and kind of we're laughing basically about 85% of the time. I'm going to say 89% of the time, because 9 to 17. And then we, a lot of prayer in there. And of course, there's some tears every now and then, and there's a little bit of anger every now and then. But the majority of the Anons and digital soldiers who have really entrenched themselves into this intel information and trusting the plan and seeing how it's unfolding and understanding these moves and counter moves without giving anything away to the enemy, right? That's the last thing you want to do. You want to always keep the enemy on the edge of their seats and not knowing which direction to go. But when you start digging into these Q drops like we are about to with Robert Mueller, one of the characters in the play, you're just gonna have like one of these moments. You're gonna go, oh my God, I never looked at it that way. And we did that with Snowden many years ago, right? We did the Snowden digs, like really in depth, really went down the rabbit holes with that. We've also done some Lindsey Graham, Lady Graham. Everybody's bashing Graham. Everybody's bashing Mueller. Everybody's bashing this guy, that guy, this girl. And wouldn't it blow your mind to know that they're part of the team, part of the White Hats? It's all right there. And it had to be done this way because optics are important. Yes. Just saying.
Well said. Well said. I was just jumping over into Diggers right when you said that. Here's I got the image right there for what Tim was saying. What makes a movie good? Interesting. We always say what makes a good movie, but actually this one is what makes a movie good. I will say on Q alerts, when you search the term, it makes it all caps. I would bet this isn't caps. So we have good, all capitals. So what's that? 37, 41 is good, and great actors. Great is capitalized on actors. So the number I did for anybody new is simple English gematria. O is 15. So I did 30. G is 7. 37 plus D4 is 41. So great, 18, 7, 25, 31, 51. 51 is great. So the White Hat Q post 51. Interesting.
Nice. One nation under God. One nation under God. Yes, brother.
One nation under God. Good and great. And that makes me think of the guy that said he didn't want to be a great man. He wanted to be a good man. That's interesting.
Yeah, so these are some of the things I was dropping throughout the weekend. I also did a quite extensive research on Mueller himself, his background, his history, what he did before, during, and after all of this happened, especially with the Q drops involved. And it's just mind-blowing, the orchestration and the planning of installing someone like Robert Mueller into this environment that we've gone through and lived through for the most part, many of us that have been on the Q boards for many years, and even the OG Anons from the very beginning. It makes way more sense now than it ever made back then, because I mean it's almost impossible to keep up with this military planning at its finest and how they move these pieces on the chessboard, and there's all the characters. Like I said, I'm just going to riddle off a few of them on the top of my head, but when you have Rod Rosenstein and you've got Mueller, okay, who was brought in by Rosenstein, then you got Huber, you got Sessions, you got Bill Barr, B-2 bomber, you got Durham slides right in there, same date as the Q drop. I mean, it's just woo, where do you start? Where do you end? Well, what you do is on a daily basis, you try and cover as much of that information as possible. You try to connect the dots. But just as we go forward today, just understand that we're not defending Robert Mueller. We're not saying, I'm not going to come out and say he's a good guy, he's a bad guy, he's this, is that. I want you guys to decide for yourselves. I already come to my conclusions. I've done my own research, and I'm pretty excited to see how this movie has been unfolding for us and why it had to be done this way, because the swamp was bigger, deeper, and wider than anybody could imagine. That's one of the reasons why this has taken so long. And it had to be done right, and it had to be done according to the law, right? We have one shot at this, one shot. So when you look at Mueller, okay, just a quick recap on the extensive research I did over the weekend. Robert Mueller himself is a Marine. His father was a Marine. And then Robert Mueller became the, I think he was the 16th FBI director, or 12th, I forget the number, but he became the FBI director just before the 9/11 attacks, okay? So basically, he didn't really have time to suit up and gear up and get involved. And all of a sudden, you got the Twin Towers coming down. You got the whole world in panic mode. And then he became, he was the new FBI guy for all those years, and rebuilt, like working with the FBI and doing their thing. And there was a lot of moves and counter moves even back then. And this is the early 2000s, folks. So you got to go way back in time to see how he was moving and moving different things within the FBI back then. And then he was asked to be extended on because he had already used his 10 years, but then Obama brings him on for another 2 or almost 3 years at that time.
Okay, right? So you read a little about the Wikipedia. I was curious about this because I was we jumped in Telegram last night, and we were activating some really good stuff, and I want to see if I can find that audio because I was on a roll too, and I'll explain some of that to Rob and Bob. But what was that last thing you just said? Oh, I was asking about what was the answer?
FBI director.
Okay, yeah. So the FBI director is generally a 10-year term only.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a key part. I guess we'll just jump right into it if you guys, and I'll come back around to it. But you're only allowed to be the FBI director for 10 years per the law. That's the law. If somebody can maybe find the exact law, that'd be interesting. How and why did Robert Mueller get to go to 12 years? So Tim's saying that then extended into Obama, right? Because he was hired 7 days before 9/11, 1 day before my birthday, September 4th, 2001. And what I want to just highlight for some people, again, all the anons are newer people that are seeing all these bad things, and they're like, oh my God, FBI. Think how the cabal thinks as greedy psychopaths, always hiding who's in power. But what do you also have to have? You have to have fall guys. So if you are about to do something like, attack your own people, the United States of America, to launch us into forever wars and kill our own people, you're going to have somebody in place that isn't actually your guy in a position like FBI director, because they know there's going to be major chaos from the intelligence, because the FBI should have known, and they did. And then the intelligence agency should have known, but they didn't, right? And that's how we actually came to the Department of National Intelligence, which was sharing information, because we could have stopped 9/11 if we did that already. But that kind of was a backdoor for the cabal then to have their access to all the intelligence agencies. Naturally, the White Hats were prepared for that, and we had a plan, and we got, we're in charge of the whole situation. But it's this delicate situation. I had one last thing to say about I'm slipping my mind, so I'll go back to you guys, and I'll come right back, and then we'll go in the Q drops and show all that. Oh, this is really the most important part, though, is after he did the 12 years, this is the whole picture. And like Tim said, nobody really talks about Mueller. We did, Tim, way back in the days, right? In 2021, 2022.
We even talked about Comey. I mean, we hit some things with Comey that'll make your head spin. And Comey and Mueller are connected to a law firm that was entrenched and involved in taking down, guess who? Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Wow. Because I said for a long time, the whole even Comey thing, Comey being the undercover white hat, if you watch that 4-part series, it's called A Higher Loyalty, which was the name that Comey's book he wrote. The characters, the people that made it, you could tell where they kind of maybe like, or at least making it look like they had a anti-Trump bias, and the characters they picked for General Flynn. But it's really well done. Check it out if you guys can.
The timing of Comey, too, is interesting. Remember, we dug that on many, many years ago, about just before the 2016 election. Comey coming out and doing his thing.
Yes, right. And we had some awesome ones on our 5.5. So here's a comment. Thanks, Jedi. FBI director serves a single, non-renewable 10-year term appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. Thank you for that. If we get any more details of how and why he was allowed to go 12 years, I would bet they would probably use that same bullshit from 9/11, like national security. Let's see here. Established by the Crime Control Act of 1976, so prior, way before, amending the 68 Omnibus Crime Control Act. The law aims to insulate the director from political pressure. Okay, that's with the Senate confirmation, maybe, and maybe the 10-year max. Prevent the accumulation of excessive power following the long tenure of J. Edgar Hoover. Okay, yeah, Hoover. By the way, the FBI was basically started to spy on American citizens, FYI. Then 9/11 allowed them to become a global intelligence agency. So they were expanding all their power. FBI and CIA can actually be more understood as a brother and sister agency, honestly, especially for deception and the bullshit they pulled on the American people. Somehow the FBI has to redeem themselves. Sounds like it's probably going to be prosecuting the 2020 election and everything else they need to do. We'll see how that plays out. But here's the really important part, guys. For the big picture, White Hat's in full control. Trump becomes the president, 2017. I need to figure out the dates, because who was FBI director before him? I guess it would be Comey, right? It was Comey then, Tim. That's right. Okay. And Comey gets fired with cause or resigns. And then the next FBI director is now this Russia collusion stuff's going on. The day before Robert Mueller is appointed, he meets Trump in the Oval Office under the guise of
Q-Drop 18. That's in Q-Drop 18, which we'll
18,
cover.
Thank you for the number. We'll maybe show that one then. 18, Q-Drop 18. He meets with Donald Trump in the Oval Office for an interview. This is under the guise of an interview for the FBI director job. When Bob Mueller, this well-decorated person who was the FBI director for 12 years, 2 more than you can be, knows that per the law, you can't be the FBI director. So why were they meeting? And then how is that a coincidence of all coincidences? The very next day, Robert Mueller is appointed as special counsel going after Trump administration. And we'll find out later what else he was going after. He said which. He did say which today. I don't even know if you guys know which one. But I'll throw it back to Tim. He's beaming, and we'll go some Q drops. What else do you want to go on this? Topic?
Well, I think now might be a good time because we gave you the military background, okay? Father, son, all the way through the ranks, okay? All these previous years leading up to what Kyle just explained to you, the 12 years of FBI. He also went into the private sector under a law firm that was attached to, and it actually hits a delta. It hit the delta of the day he died, Friday. Okay, so one of the deltas on Friday attaches Mueller and Comey with this law firm. And when you dig in the law firm was working with Guffrey, the whistleblower, against Epstein and Maxwell. So they were all involved in moves and counter moves in there too. So that was the private sector, right? So that's all part of it. But here's where it gets really exciting when it comes to Q drops. If we bring up if the 142 Q drops, if we start at the very beginning, Kyle and Melzie, the very first Q drop Mueller's announced is Q drop 14. That's our famous Q drop, number 14. And then the very next one is 18, Kyle. So let's bring up those two. Let's start there.
Okay.
And what I'd like to do for our audience, for our brothers and sisters, so we're painting a picture here to help you understand how Mueller played a part in this to help take down the globalist psychopaths, that controlled the world, not just the United States, but the whole world, and all these moves and counter moves. We're going to go through, out of the 142 drops, I think it's imperative that we read the first 10 in order of 14, 18, and then we'll go in order, Kyle. So when you bring up those Mueller Q drops, start from 14, we'll go to 18, then we'll go to the next one, and we'll work our way down to about 9, 10, 11 Q drops. And right there paints the whole picture about Mueller, because if you go any further than that, then you're going to get intertwined into all the other chess pieces like the Jeff Sessions, the Rod Rosensteins, the Hubers, the Horowitzes, the Bill Barrs, all these rooks and whatever, pawns or whatever on the chessboard, whatever you want to call them. But it does lay out a picture of how he was embedded in there. And there's certain terminology that Q uses as far, it's not plants need watering, but it's a little more extensive than that. There's certain people that were placed in certain positions at certain times to expose, and not only to blockade certain deep state activities, but to entrap certain individuals like AKA Adam Schiff, AS, in the Q drops, who was the Gang of 8 intelligence, who was going against Mueller, of all people, because Mueller's report came out and basically took Trump and all the administration, all these people they're going after, it got them off the hook because there was no Russia collusion. It was outside of the Trump administration, which would be EPATs, the dark side of things. So anyway, let's go to the Q drops. I'm excited. Once we start reading these Q drops, you'll see the pieces all fall into. And if there's anything you guys want to add during this, please put it in the chat and we'll show it on the screen. But
what an interesting twist and insight into this, because and it has to appear to get in to infiltrate into the cabal. You can't be like a good guy going in there and I'm going to gather all the evidence and tell on you. It has to. You have to gain the trust of these people, and so it's interesting. You guys are the first ones too that got me thinking differently about Snowden. I had really honestly no idea who Snowden was, and so this is, and I didn't really know who Mueller was, and so these are the people I think that are going to be introduced to us in the story, like we've talked about the characters, and he's obviously an important one if there's 142 Q posts about him, right?
Oh yeah, and keep one thing in mind too. There's like certain people that we are continually decoding and deciphering and going through the Q drops, the intel board about. Most of them have military backgrounds. The common denominator is military. Military is the only way. When you take Jeff Sessions, for example, military background. You take Lindsey Graham, military JAG officer and JAG trainer, teacher extraordinaire, JAG. Think military. Think about what's public, but what's going on behind the scenes. And Mueller falls right into that category, you guys.
I like it.
All right, let's get into it, man. This has been wild. Okay, I was digging up some other stuff in the back end too. I got that swan we need for later. What day did Robert Mueller actually die on? I think it will be. I guess we'll read it here in a second. Let's see.
It's on the 20th, which is Friday.
So,
and that's that delta I dropped. I dropped that on Diggers at the very bottom, along with today's delta, because Mueller hits one of today's deltas, which talks about the Mueller report. I mean, it's just crazy how this is, from Friday till today, and then with the passing of Mueller, and then you got a lot of the community bashing Mueller. You got half of the community that's like Mr. Truthbomb, wink, wink, nod, nod, R.I.P. Mr. Robert Mueller. I mean, Mr. Truthbomb knows. We seem to know. Anon seemed to know. But why is everybody else being a panicking all of a sudden?
Right.
There's more to the story than meets the eye, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let me cross a couple things off here. Jedi found for us. Thank you guys. Extension. While FBI directors are limited to a 10-year term, President Barack Obama signed a special 2-year extension for Mueller in 2011, arguing that his steady hand was critical for our national security. So very interesting there. The optics of that one. And then Tim, I was trying to get through.
Did you say national security?
Yeah, for national security.
Well, the delta that hit the day he died Friday has that right at the very bottom of the Q drop.
Okay. So can we show this? Can I do this Gateway Pundit article first, then right before the drops, or because I want to?
No, let's read a couple drops first. Let's go through a handful anyway. Let's go through the first 3, 4, maybe even 5 of them.
Okay. Like you said. So here's on qalerts.pub. I did search Q alerts. I did Mueller. All right, so we get 142 different drops with Mueller. So again, and how about it playing out in the news stories today? And it's gonna be relevant. Everything Q has talked about has been the guide and a map for us. Okay, show real quick something here over on. Now let's read these first. I'll show a search on QAG after about another way you could search it. But let's do these drops. So we're gonna do the first handful in a row. You said right, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay. So first Mueller drop, just like Tim was explaining, Q drop 14, the very first time we get an image. It's Washington crossing the Delaware. It's the low resolution one that's kind of orange tinted. I'm not sure what that means exactly.
And was that a history, life-altering event that took place? Just asking for a friend.
Very much so for all of us.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'd be flying a British flag or something ridiculous. Yep. Okay, so there it is. This is just the Q Alert Zone synopsis. Famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River using a Durham boat. It was a Durham boat. We found that out later on. We pieced that together before we knew who Durham was. Then we pieced it together. And of course, a small boat can also be called a skiff. S-K-I-F-F. Skiff. So double meanings do exist here. So we're gonna get right into that here. So it says, interesting Enoch on this one, but skiff is the first part. This is SCIF. There's lots of great account to follow too over on X. Is at the skiff is all it is. I think it is SCIF, but it stands for Sensitive Compartmentalized Information Facility. Q drops have intelligence and coding. There's brackets, there's capitals, there's all kinds of, there's layered information here. We usually assume this is foreign. I've never heard anybody with a good answer for another F. Maybe Flynn.
Facility.
Maybe Flynn in there, facility. But why would you put the F in kill bracket? It's already facility. So we usually say foreign, but I just added Flynn. Who else got a good F for it there? Maybe Sensitive Compartmentalized Information Facility, aka a SCIF. Military intelligence. What is state secrets and how upheld in the SC? I was just talking about that the other day with my friends. Is we just generally Supreme Court, we'd assume, but there is some special things about special counsel. And how about that? The very first Mueller drop ever has this SC thing here. And for a long time, I've had a little speculation about the special counsel thing. Anybody want to go further, diggers into it? The contract of special counsel ended in 1999. And they basically, Congress, I don't even really understand this, had to make a new contract of what a special counsel would be, or maybe a law. It was redone in 99. And we also have 1999 as the start. FISA equals the start. Interesting connections. Our sister Yig, her website is where I found this interesting tidbit. And again, because it was connected to the special counsel that was actually trying to prosecute Bill Clinton, of all things. And that also is just a weird, interesting tile. Throw one more wrench in there. Is Nisara Gisara supposedly happened in that time with during Clinton. So that's interesting. Okay, the rest of Q.14 though. What is state secrets and how upheld in the SC? What must be completed to engage military intelligence over other three-letter agencies? That's your put TSA in there, right? TSA, but DHS, FBI, DOJ, whoever's not upholding the law. What must occur to allow for civilian trials? Why is this relevant? What is Flynn's
well, that would be stop right there, because there's a difference between military trials and civilian trials, right? And that's enemy combatant. And that was the conversation between Lindsey Graham, who we call Iron Eagle, and who? What Supreme Court?
Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh in the Q drops.
Indeed.
Pay attention. It's
And
important.
we showed that probably a month or two ago as well. Interesting. Flynn comes up in this Q drop, and something made me speculate Flynn on this one. I've never done that before. Forgot he's in here. What was Flynn's background? I mentioned that there's more than one Flynn. All right. Also, technically, there's at least 3 that I know about, maybe more. What was Flynn's background? He was the 17th director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Why is this relevant? Why did ADMR NSA, was usually assumed as Admiral Rogers, but could be something else, meet Trump privately without authorization? This was in Trump Tower. Does POTUS...
This is interesting, because right here in Q drop 14, and we're going to go to 18, Q drop 18, where Mueller meets POTUS, but in this particular Q drop, and we'll have to look at the date. Is it the same day these drops came out, Kyle? We'll see in the timestamps.
Okay.
There's Admiral Rogers from the NSA meeting Trump privately without authorization, and then shortly thereafter, you have Robert Mueller meeting with POTUS.
Yeah.
Was Trump POTUS at that time when he met with him?
No.
Yep.
No.
Well, he was POTUS elect.
POTUS elect.
Okay.
So, yeah, interesting question, though. Good question. So, and this is tricky, because there's also one of those first Q drops that says one of the 4 families was removed post Trump's victory, but I always intuitively felt it was long before he got inaugurated, because it's already a done deal. So that's a big part of it. And then, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, we keep going. We got lots of drops. So why did ADMR and NSA, again, Admiral Rogers, I want to add this part. Admiral Rogers met Trump at Trump Tower in New York, I believe, and let him know that he was being spied upon, because they knew Admiral Rogers could see all the intelligence and knew they were plotting on him. And he basically broke protocol and went and met Trump privately. And according to Q drops, they logged it under something innocuous so that it was basically off the books. And this is the storyline Q tells us anyways. So we'll see how it really went. We probably won't get all the details. Does POTUS know where the bodies are buried? We also say Q also later mentions Flynn knows where the bodies are buried. Q also says Giuliani knows where the bodies are buried.
Oh, you bring up Rudy. Wait till you see how Rudy Giuliani and Mueller connect in this. They connect.
Oh, I love it.
And I forgot one more tidbit in my research reading about Mueller. He was involved in the Gambino crime family takedown, folks. Gambino.
Wow.
What?
Yes. What a trip. And Durham is too. So now we know Mueller's with
Now,
Durham.
wasn't Rudy involved in that?
Rudy definitely was, but also very specifically Durham, like Gambino's family specifically, Durham prosecuted, and we get the Durham boat in here. We get the F. We said Flynn. I added Flynn there, foreign, but then also, so now we get what's Flynn's background? Does POTUS know where the bodies are buried? Me telling you my best estimation from the Q drops directly, it says POTUS. I guess which POTUS? It does say Giuliani, and it says Flynn. There is one other one I'm not going to add. See if the Q-tards out there know. Who's the fourth person? Again, he's involved with private security, and his sister worked in the Trump administration. See if you guys can find that.
That's a good. I love that. I love that kind of trivia. That's a good.
That was a good one too. Yeah, I'm doing one more time. There's a fourth name for sure
He
that
still,
Q
he
says
still
knows
comes
where
on,
the bodies
he
are
comes
buried.
on to Bannon's war room from time to time, eh?
Oh,
he just
okay.
throws a couple of tidbits of information out there for anons to chew on, little bones to chew on.
Yeah, so that's a good one. So there's a fourth name in there, private security, and his sister was in the Trump administration in the first
Department of Education.
Oh, he's giving it. Yeah, that and it's a different name, so that will help. Different last name, Department of Education. There you go. That's in the job.
Also
Okay.
part of the Amway family. Just another hint. Just throw
Oh,
in
that's
another hint.
interesting. Okay, all right. Okay, does POTUS know where the bodies are buried? Does POTUS have the goods on most bad actors? I love adding the second definition to some of these now, going through these, because I think I got to credit Adam Charles Branch with people of the United States. Because think about anons. We know where this is. We know where all this stuff is at, and we pieced this together. Even one of the places they buried these bodies, guys, is underneath Arlington Cemetery. They thought they would never look under our fallen soldiers for the crimes they committed. That's how disgusting these people are, right? But they're getting rooted out. We flooded these people, and we'll never forget this shit when it's all said and done. Does POTUS have the goods on most bad actors? That's why they hate him so much. Was Trump, interesting, all caps here. I was just talking, I don't know if I've said it live, Tim, or if I was telling Melzie, but Trump is signing, I think I said on the show, but it says president, capital P, then the rest of the letters are for president or lowercase, but it's Donald J. Trump in all caps, which makes me think of a trust. A trust, a military trust through civilian, handing over to civilians, is in control of our country right now during this transition. Makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, was Trump, we have the all caps, of course, most of y'all know the acronym, True Republic under military power. Okay, interesting to look at these drops with the deeper knowledge we have now. Was Trump asked to run for president? Why? By who? Was Hillary Rodham Clinton next in line, Tim?
Yes, she was part of the 16-year plan.
Was the election supposed to be rigged? Can anybody that's good in English, is that supposed to have a D in there? Is it supposed?
Yes.
So there's a missing D, so that makes me think the D party, the Democrats, they're rigging the election. Is this Q giving us comms already that they're going to rig the election? It was supposed to be rigged for them in 2016. We allowed them to rig it in 2020.
Dirty D's done dirty.
Great title that one day we did. Dirty D's done dirt cheap. Did good people prevent the rigging? Absolutely. And I've talked about this over the years. Anon did a great dig on Twitter years back. Small recap if anyone wants to try this own dig themselves. Look at the third-party candidates, their votes from 2012 versus 2016. The third-party candidates all got more votes than they did the year prior. And a lot of those increases is exactly how much the county that Trump won from. Now, when I first told people this, does that mean the White Hats like rigged it for him? No. With our free will, we could never do something like that deceptively. The American people had to choose our destiny with our free will. That's like the prime directive, too. If you say we got higher intelligence, angels, whatever you want to call them on Q team, they can't interfere in certain ways. That's why they always say report the crimes. Do the thing, you know what I mean? When it says sit back and enjoy the show, it means we're not going to be stupid and think we got to go arrest Adam Schiff or kill people in the cabal or go in the deep underground military bases. That's the stuff that's out of our control that the military, God bless them, have done for us so that we can do the rest. All right, but anyways, the point being is the votes increased by the third-party candidates pretty clearly. You can and then they even one lady in Delaware somewhere had the most votes she ever got, and she asked for a recount. Why would she ask for a recount? She got more votes than she ever did because it was supposed to be Hillary Clinton lost that county or that state. And what you could understand then, they were funneling third-party candidate votes to the candidate they wanted to win, and they used this Dominion software so it looks natural, and they win by like 1 to 4%. It looks totally natural. Nobody's sexed, none the wiser. Let's say a big third-party candidate might say, hey, this doesn't make sense. Our data said I should have this many votes. Hillary Clinton says, don't worry, you're in our cabal. We got blackmail on you anyways. You're going to shut the F up. You know what? You need to demand a recount because I should have won that state. What the fuck's going on? Right? That's how Hillary Clinton is. Okay, so I've gone a little deep on this post. I'm going to try to finish it out here. But it's important you can see that, though, is somehow the White House prevented the rigging and Trump won naturally, but just slightly. According to Negative 48, he said we had bigger numbers all the way back then. We'll see. It's going to be wild when we finally get all the illegal aliens, all this bullshit fucking machine voting crap. It's going to be really interesting to see how bullshit this has been for a long time. Okay, could people prevent the rigging? You bet your ass. Why did POTUS form a panel to investigate? All right, after this, all the Democrats all said he colluded with Russia, this election interference, He actually, as president, formed a panel to investigate the elections. And guess what happened? All the swing states refused to turn over their evidence to a panel formed by the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, a panel on election fraud, when people are claiming in the Democrat Party there was fraud, and they refused to turn over the information, right? And then here's Tim's favorite line. He's got Matthews fired up in the background there. Has POTUS ever made a statement that did not become proven as true or fact? In fact. And I always say the only one still is basically the 2020, but we're going to see it all play out. It's going to be wild. What is POTUS in control of? No? Military.
Military.
What is the one organization left that isn't corrupt? Military. Why does the military play such a vital role? Why is POTUS surrounded by highly respected generals? Who guards former presidents? I'm kind of curious what a general AI or Google search would be on that. Yeah.
Because if the military wasn't on board, let's say, it would be a coup. Like we'd have to go and overthrow the current government, and then work with trying to get rid of the corruption.
Right.
So it's really the perfect plan.
Also, in the Q drops, it says they were prepared to do the unthinkable.
Right. Yes. To do the unthinkable. And it's important to note, too, we've understood more recently over the last year, the military was established before the country was. So is our country in a trust all along? Thank you, St. Germain. And we've all been waiting for this moment. We'll see how that plays out. Who guards former presidents? I'm kind of curious on the Anons, which you guys come up with that, because most people kind of assume Secret Service. But here's where we
ex-military.
Here's where we get into the military stuff too, and also Marines specifically serve directly to the president, and we're gonna see that as it transitions into Mueller in this Q drop here. So pay attention, guys. Come full circle. So who guards former presidents? Tim says ex-military. By the way, the United States Secret Service is the corporation, the USSS. They were originally created to prevent when you fake money was that
fraud?
Not fraud, but the fake money
with
counterfeit.
Yes,
the cabal got to protect their money. United States Secret Service was actually main mission was to protect the currency of the country. Eventually, then they went on to protect the presidents, who are really the CEO of that corporation. So Trump's son also refused protection from the United States Secret Service, and were they involved with JFK? It seems that certainly they were. So there's a lot here, obviously.
Well, they all stepped away from that car pretty quick back in those days. Yeah.
Okay. Who guards former presidents? Why is that relevant? Who guards HRC? And is that different because she's not a president?
But she's a first ex.
And why HRC there, not Hillary?
Lady,
why?
Right?
Say again.
She's her husband was a
yes,
president.
Right.
So would she have more protection than a normal person?
Sure, normal, but she wouldn't maybe have a presidential protection. And why are they asking about HRC here? Interesting.
I don't know. That's just interesting.
Yeah. Why is Antifa allowed? What's Antifa, Gematria, guys? I don't think I've ever heard that one. Why is Antifa? It looks like a lowish number. Why is Antifa 40 something? Why is Antifa allowed to operate? Why hasn't the Muslim Brotherhood been classified as a terrorist organization?
Coming to a theater near you.
Exactly, right? What happens if Soros-funded operations get violent and engage in domestic terrorism? This was a major Q proof for us guys too when we came back around to 2020. And Q actually just highlighted this original drop, showing here's the plan all along. We allowed these attacks because it made, this is how you have a 5D chessboard. No, and this is why the cabal never thought that we'd be able to use military on American soil, because generally you can't unless 17 things in an order are in place, and all these assholes have done that. And our 3-letter agencies aren't upholding the law, and our congressmen aren't upholding the law, and our Supreme Court isn't protecting the national security of the country. So we have to do something else, and that's what this is. And this is the military is the only way. Okay, what happens if mayors and police commissioners, police chiefs do not enforce the law? We saw that again this second time around, Trump admin version 2. We covered that quite a bit this year. What authority does POTUS have specifically over the Marines? Oh, the other thing I wanted to add, we had the military before the country. They also take their oath to the Constitution, something greater than themselves. That's why the military was not corrupted, because everybody took an oath. Now, people at high levels, certainly they infiltrated our military, and unfortunately, a lot of high-level generals and stuff got stuck into this blackmail cabal. They gave them the power just like they did with Hollywood. They did that to our military generals, unfortunately.
That's what Trump referred to as the TV generals, folks.
TV generals. And honestly, guys, this is how the alliance was formed. They drew a line in the sand. It had to do with human trafficking. And also when you find out about where we traffic people to.
Antifa's 51. Oh, my God. Is it really?
Antifa 51. Oh, my gosh. White hats in full control. Gotta love that. Okay, so the other part is the military takes the oath to the Constitution. It's something greater than themselves. What authority does POTUS have over the Marines? Specifically over the Marines. Why is this important? What is Mueller's background? Military? Tim, you read a little his military. Give us a little tiny bit.
Yeah, he's an ex-Marine, the Vietnam War, and his father, even prior to him, was also a Marine. So there's a Marine background family coming up through the ranks, and Robert Mueller was, and he was accredited with many special military like the awards that they get, like the Purple Hearts and all those different things. Like there's a whole list of them. So this guy Mueller, who a lot of people are bashing right now, he actually saved many lives back then. He brought out some of his fellow patriots who were under gunfire out of harm's way. Hence why he got all these medals for his service to the military.
Wow.
Yes, well said, Tim. And I'm gonna read this last sentence, and I'll say what some other things that catch my eye. So here, what is Mueller's background? Again, ultimately Marine, military.
He worked his status up to he was like a captain or whatever of a certain brigade or whatever you call. I don't know all the military terms, but he was kind of the tip of the spear for his crew.
Okay. Was Trump asked to run for president with assurances made to prevent tampering? How is POTUS always 5 steps ahead? Who is helping POTUS? Okay, I got a bunch of chills. I'm getting some unlocks. I'm going to mention a few things that just Key Team, I guess, allowed us to download here. For one is, man, I wish I had that audio ready when I was rolling on some things. But we'll get to the Q job when we do the Rob and Bob. We got to do some other Q jobs here, so I won't go too far off on this. I guess we're not supposed to know yet. Man, it's like, really, let me go back to the Q job. I'll use that as my frame, and then I'll remember what I was going to say. So just some things that caught my attention now that we have this deeper understanding of a lot of different things. So the one, of course, I mentioned the first time they mentioned Trump, and then we're doing Q job 14 here, by the way, anybody 14, first one with the image, first one with a Mueller drop, one of 142 on Q alerts. And the first time Trump is mentioned here was Trump asked, it's all capital letters. Okay, we get a lot of POTUS. POTUS stands for President of the United States. Could also be People of the United States. So we're adding that in now with the trust factor. And then Trump also as a true republic under military power as a trust. Then we get more of the plan in here. It goes back to POTUS. So Anon's in the very beginning. You're always assuming this is talking about Trump. But now we have this deeper understanding. We see Trump in all caps. We get POTUS multiple times before and after the all caps. And then it ends, though. It closes here with the regular lowercase Trump as if the person was Trump asked to run for president with assurances made to prevent tampering. So that really caught my eye. Okay, the other part of this is because the other thing is if Mueller has this incredible background. Again, a lot of anons and the stuff that went viral is all the things that he could get, they're throwing mud at, like all these weird connections, the 9/11 stuff, Kay. But if this is kayfabe, just like Tim was explaining, and Trump is now attacking Mueller, what if this whole special counsel thing had been under this expanded mandate scope, and we're going to explain this, where the real witch hunt was actually going after Hillary Clinton? Now we still have the left that, and then it was such a vile thing, in my opinion, for Trump to say that. It was like he's dead, and good thing he's dead, but he said he can't hurt any more innocent people. The point being is he's now this hero of the left, and Trump attacked him when he's dead. How dare he? That when it comes out that maybe Mueller was the one that helped come to all this information, that Hillary Clinton, all the way up to Obama, backed by Huber and Durham, found this information that all roads lead to Obama, and that's where the real treason with Russia was, including Hillary Clinton.
Okay, so, can you go back where it does say HRC, who is, I was just thinking, and, we have that one Secret Service agent that is, like, we see pictures with Hillary Clinton, also with Obama, with Michelle, and also with Trump, walking behind Trump, right? So how do you gather evidence from these people? Like, so who guards HRC? If we're thinking about some like hidden assets or hidden, whatever you would call them, spies or
asset sleepers.
Yeah. So, anyways, I thought, well, that's interesting. And I just my head went, well, who does guard them? And then I went to go. I was gonna chat, GPT it and see. Yeah. And I thought, well, Qschqql does. Yeah. And then I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. This is the whole picture that we didn't see at first.
Yeah.
And as we continue reading these Q drops, guys, and we read the first 9 or 10 in a row, that's going to come up, Melzie. Like that's how do you invest? How do you bring out? I forget how Q words it, but it's basically in order to entrap or corner that dangerous animal to investigate them, you need these sleepers, you need these plants, you need these injected personnel with military backgrounds, I might add, wink, wink, nod, nod. Military is the only way. And then eventually it will be ready and easily consumed by the public. And that's where we're leading in that direction where like D-class is coming. We've got the grand juries impaneled already. We know that Sessions and Huber and Horowitz, all these guys with the team of 470, including Durham stuff starting to come out again. Like, how is that possible? Speaking of the Durham vote, that's already being added to the investigation behind the scenes, which is the grand conspiracy, which is the RICO stuff, the treason, the sedition, all the big stuff that the public just isn't quite there yet. They're getting close, but they're not quite ready to consume that kind of detailed information to come out. But we're working our way towards it.
Well, there's also the diplomatic immunity that a lot of these characters have. So you have to have a certain type of, let's say, witness, and that can have validation. So someone that was in the military that maybe is a U.S. Marshal or, whatever.
Well, that's where enemy combatant comes into play, sister. Civilian versus enemy combatant. That's military versus civilian. So can they be arrested and charged civilly? Yeah, I suppose they could, but it won't stick. But the military behind the scenes can definitely, because that's treason and sedition against the country.
Sure. So the testimony, if you saw, like, let's say there was a Secret Service agent that saw things, and his eyewitness testimony may have. I think you have to have two
for treason.
Two for treason.
Yep.
And,
woohoo!
And Mueller 7 days before 9/11. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. So let's keep reading those Q drops because it will you'll see a bunch of these different little hits and crumbs with Mueller. It'll all start attaching itself, and you're going to see this bigger picture unfolding before your very eyes. Because here's the thing about Q drops that I've noticed. If we just read them from the beginning all the way to the end, you're going to miss probably about 80 to 90% of the connections, right? But this is why here at Qschqql we get so excited almost every time we go live, because we focus on a certain topic or a name or a phrase, and all of a sudden they start connecting. You can see how these Q drops ultimately start connecting. So in this case, it's Mueller. So why are there 142 Mueller Q drops? Well, you're about to find out why. But if we would have skipped the Mueller decode or reading and understanding who this fellow was, where he came from, his background, and how he was placed into this, into the mechanism of, you know, the Great Awakening and doing all the things that he was doing, the moves and counter moves on the chessboard. If we just blasted through all these various Q drops without focusing on one individual, you wouldn't be able to connect those dots. It's almost impossible. And that's why we need each other to work together. And today you're going to see that picture being painted with Robert Mueller.
Okay, right on. Well, okay, I was ready to rock and roll here. Looks like the Instagram got disconnected. Somebody double check that for me. Let's read the next Q drop, and then I'll just start it up here in a second. It's not that big a deal. Okay, so let's go to the second one. This would be exciting. So I got the 2 Q drops in order here. Again, I'm on Q alerts. I searched Mueller, right? Mueller on QAlerts.pub. Anybody new here? So the second Mueller drop now going in ascending order. So the very first one was Q drop 14. This one here we got Q drop 18. So 18 is 9 plus 9, 11, 1. I think it's the same day then, huh, Tim?
Is it the same day?
No, October 31st. So let's try. I'm gonna hop over to QAG for just a second on this one, because I want to show something here.
Okay.
Go to this one. Oh, I got Trump's tweets. I'm gonna take this down for just a second, so I can do the Mueller. Drum roll. Another thing you can do too, guys, here on QAGG.news on the character board, you can go to this chess piece. You click the chess piece here. And you just have to scroll and find Mueller. I'm going to do Command F or or Shift F, whatever it is. Control F to find something. I'll do Mueller. And there he is, number 8. Okay. BM, Bob Mueller. SC is special counsel. See, they're using SC as special counsel. Now, Mr. Smith told us that the trader, the pawn, the names came from the original QMap.pub. Basically, it was their assessment from the Q drops from the beginning. Okay. So just keep that in mind. This is nothing.
The key word is pawn. Okay, pawn. Who's pawn? Like, think about the chessboard, right?
Chessboard. I like that one. Yeah. Yep. Pawn's a great statement there. So, Robert Mueller is an American attorney who served as the 6th director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Is that correct? That seems like a low number to go all the way from way back on. What's his name? J. Edna, the cross-dresser. Maybe. All right. From 2001 to 2013, currently serving as special counsel, investigating Russian interference in the 2016 election. Now, if you click right here, link to drops, Mr. Smith did some kind of trolling thing. I don't know how he would get this. So it actually winds up still being less drops than what they have over on Q Alerts. So Q Alerts has at least the most drops. So that's just a good tool to use. Right now, I'm just going to search Mueller on QAG, and I'll show you why I'm doing it over here now. Mueller. So that I can show these 2 drops here. But because I'm on QAG, I can also turn on our digging options.
Whoa, you even got less. You got less than he got.
Oh, yeah, less on. This is just the word Mueller, okay?
Yeah, but when you clicked on the trader versus pawn image, you got 136. Now you're down to 124.
And that makes sense because he will have some there might be a Mueller post. See, this is what's interesting. I almost would be willing to bet there's going to be some Mueller posts without the Mueller name spelled out. There's RM posts that may imply Robert Mueller. So interesting. 124. My first and last name is 124. So that's cool. All right. So here's the 18. But now we can see how many days in between it's been. So check this out. So from Q drop 14 to Q drop 18, the math's already done here for us. It was, I guess it was actually 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 40 seconds. So 109 spelled out is 17. Q drop 40 is the DJT Q post. So it was only, and it winds up being 955. So then the weird Alpha 45 squad comms, and my birthday's in there on that again too. So why did Mueller, and this is what I was just explaining, Q drop 18, which is 9 plus 9, or the R, this could be an R. Why did Mueller meet POTUS 1 day prior to FBI announcement if Mueller could not offer director due to previous term limits? We just did a great job covering that, I think. Why is Pelosi begging for a new special counsel? I don't really know that answer. I don't know if I've ever got a great answer of that? That's an interesting one. We maybe asked, but never really dig into.
Something to do with impeach. She wanted to impeach Trump. Another.
Impeach, so she'd know it was long. Or this sounds like a lot like kayfabe also.
Yeah.
And or is Q even maybe hinting that Pelosi didn't want Robert Mueller to be the special counsel because it's not only you're saying the way you were saying, Tim, that she wanted to do the impeachment, but this is actually begging for a new special counsel, kind of implying she didn't want it to be Mueller, in my opinion, at the basic.
That's interesting.
What is Pelosi's net worth? Now this comes up with the fraud stuff, right? I mean, at the time it was like 130, 140 million. I believe she's over 200 million now. We've covered that quite a bit.
Interesting hate on the opening. The Dilly Meme team had Pelosi right there at the beginning of our show.
Yeah, she's gonna probably come back around. She's kind of out of the news. We got Schiff in there, and these other clowns are getting all exposed. Newsom, who's Nancy Pelosi's nephew, so she's gonna come back in the news. Watch this, guys. I can feel it. Why is Pelosi begging for a new special counsel? What is Pelosi's net worth? I just said it, 200 million plus. How was this obtained given salary as a career official? These are very early Q drops, guys. Most the Qtards here and Qschqql family know that pretty well, and we've seen it from all the other politicians now. Why is Pelosi's memory going? Maybe this was a move and counter move by Q, because knowing that we might extract one of these people in some kind of fashion, and because the Q says the same thing about John McCain. Did John McCain really have brain surgery, or was it an out for future indictments? So I bet you Q is also doing moves and counter moves right out the gate, misdirections on Nancy Pelosi, because no one had ever seen this before, this being the Q operation of this information. So I guarantee you every intelligence agency in the world and cabal and FBI and every Hollywood person was actually watching the Q drops because they knew this shit was real. They knew it. The fake news media might spin its nonsense, but the real cabal knew this shit was real, and they're watching every post closely. Could it protect against prosecution? Okay, so you could claim, I didn't remember doing this, or you're going after again. That's this actually. Here's a future-proof past. Didn't Joe Biden not get prosecuted because they said he was, quote, not mentally aware enough to stand trial or something ridiculous? So there you go. How so? And here it is again. What if John M., that'd be assuming John McCain, but why didn't they say McCain there? Or maybe because he didn't want to say his name. John M. surgery was fake. Why would this occur? And maybe their soul transfer, who knows? That's a bit higher level. What could this prevent potentially? What is the Mayo Clinic? By the way, guess where RBG wound up being at when we knew she was dead for a while? They were trying to do some weird shit at Mayo Clinic. I don't fully understand that. Who sits on the board of directors there? Probably future proofs past with some COVID bullshit on that one, but I don't really know a lot about that there. Interesting. Okay, Tim. I think Tim stepped away. Maybe we'll go to the next post, or we could do a little video where
yeah.
So maybe a little humor thing. Look, there's Lindsay. Oh, that's not me. Next Mueller post. I know Tim wants to do a funeral row, but what do we got over there? Let's do this next third one here. 387. So look at 48 days later for the next Mueller post. 19 hours, 13 minutes, 49 seconds. Q drop 387. We're 2 days before the executive order 13818 is ever created in the world. That's pretty cool. There's a 9-5 again. 18 is 1 plus 8 is 9. 2 plus 3 is 5. So look at, we had 955 here. This one starts with a 958. I don't know, 245. And Anon. Then Anon shared this image. Jared Kushner's business empire is a house of cards. Jared Kushner's ultimate deal keeps getting worse. Interesting. Kushner's in the news with the Gaza stuff now, right, too. What we know about Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump's financial disclosure probably hit pieces on, Trump's family here. Anon says Jared Kushner, rumors, must be from Canada, or rumors of his next, he's next. He's rumors of he's next on Mueller's list. Okay. And Q says end is near. So think about that. We had to get our asses pump fake from Q. Q said the end is near all the way back in December of 2017. So quit being fucking panicans out there. Imagine how the OG Anons feel. And honestly, guys, in the grand scheme of things, in thousands of years and decades of cabal control, this isn't a lot of years. 8 years may seem like a lot, but in grand scheme,
this is a speck of sand on the beach of life. Just
right,
a speck of sand.
And I think Trump even kind of mentioned, Trump said that specifically about how it's not a very long time in history of.
He did. He did last
Even
month.
America specifically. Yeah, about America specifically, right?
Well, he said that in the State of the Union.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. About America, 250 years is a blink of an eye.
Yeah, that was his closing statement in that State of the Union. Go back and watch that, you guys. I mean, that was the ultimate, probably one of the best. If you were to take all the years of Trump speeches and that clip, that last couple of minutes of that State of the Union, that's probably one of the most powerful statements he's ever made, other than probably the different phrases that he said back in the inauguration of 2017, when he says we're taking power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people, which was the plan all along.
Yeah. And the State of the Union, he just flayed and fished those dirty demon rats and stuff. I mean, again, they got this counter State of the Union. All you got to do is stand up if you support American citizens over illegal immigrants. And they didn't stand. That was the beginning of the end of this. They've been in the beginning for Red Pill Biden and whatnot. But
yeah.
You guys should be seeing the systematic destruction of the old guard right before your eyes.
Okay, so let's keep going with those Q drops, because now
I'm gonna
yep.
Pop back over to the Q alert side. So we'll stay
Okay.
on here. It's a little bit easier, I think. And then so I just did 387 while you stepped away, Tim.
Okay.
And we got 570 is a really juicy one too. And I know we want to read. I guess I'll read this one. There's a lot to it. You want me to read this one, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, this, like I said, the first 9, 10, 11 in a row actually paint the pretty much the whole picture.
Yes. Okay. So let's do this one here. Okay. So Q drop 570, January 21. That's 121, 2018. Here's the timestamp.
Quite a gap, from that. That's a big gap from that drop you read to now this one. Like, maybe go back to Qschqql for a second.
It's right here. Yep. 32 days. We went 48 days. The first ones were only 1 hour apart, 1 hour, 9 minutes, 109 military Q drops. The next one was 48 days later, and now we're another 32 days later to Q drop 570.
32 days. How many Q drops in 32 days? 570.
570 to 387. 13, 100, 183.
Wow.
183. Okay, so back to, let's see here, 570. Let's do 570. I'm just going to read it quick.
Okay.
All right. Will Sessions in all caps is 119, 9/11 mirrored. Will Sessions drop the hammer? 1 of 22. I'm not going to go there. No, memo shifts the narrative. Hashtag memo reinstates Sessions' authority regarding Russia/all. Memo, this is, I believe, was Devin Nunes's memo, but maybe there's going to be another memo of Sessions. That'd be interesting. The hashtag memo factually demonstrates collusion at highest levels. Hashtag memo factually demonstrates Hussein admin, all caps, weaponized intel community to ensure D victory plus insurance. This is the insurance file. So basically this memo, because Devin Nunes was on that gang of 8 and basically saying, here's all the information, what really happened. And they knew we would get Alliance, White Hats would get attacked. They know they'd go throw everything at Trump. We knew we were going to have to use this whole period of time to take all the slings and arrows. Red pill Biden to do things like get into the Ukraine war because all the deep underground military base there and all the world economics of that. And then also just to wake everybody up in America with how terrible they are. Hashtag memo factually demonstrates knowingly false intel, Adam Schiff's specialty, provided to FISA judges to obtain warrants. They never thought she would lose. By the way, never got to cover it because we had so much to cover last time. We've taken a few days off. But Kevin Kleinsmith, back in the news again from the Q drops, he also changed the email on another guy to make it look he's doing sketch. So this is a repetitive behavior. We knew about Carter Page FISA. I'm throwing lots of words, guys. Might not be able to follow all this. Don't get overwhelmed. Carter Page FISA. Carter Page actually went to Russia for our own CIA. Kevin Kleinsmith, KC, in the Q drops said, I'm lost my train of thought here. Okay, he said that he had deleted the part in the email for the FISA that said Carter Page worked for the CIA. He totally cut that part out. So he just looks like some guy that went to Russia, not for our country, and they were going to use that to basically surveil the Trump campaign. White Hats were in control of this situation. But a new guy came out. A second guy at this Kevin Kleinsmith altered information illegally. So make sure that they get a FISA warrant basically on false pretenses. So, and that just came back out, guys. So this is brand new information, full circle. They never thought she would lose. That's why they had insurance policies. And like Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, the two lovers, said, in the unlikely event, of it ever happening, this is what we would do. We've talked about this quite a bit. That graphic's really good to show the 16-year plan to destroy America. Okay, everything Hussein was going to do for 8 years, he did. Install rogue ops, leaking classified intelligence and military assets, giving it to our enemies, our military assets, cutting funding to military.
Think about Iran. Well, while you're reading this, think about what's going on in Iran right now.
Yeah, that great meme. Like he negotiated by giving billions of dollars in cash to the terrorists. Okay, cut funding to our military, command away from generals, launched good guy takedown, internal remove. Valerie Jarrett, that was her, probably Obama's handler. She's Iranian, Muslim Brotherhood. She also had a skiff right down the street from the White House. That's where Obama moved in after Trump kicked his ass out. Sniffer is kind of like a program looking for these people. SAP, Special Access Program sell-off. Biggie Hillary Clinton, treason. Snowden, open source. Prism, Qschqql. This is like basically Q is saying Snowden was part of this effort to the detriment of this whole plan, the 16-year plan. Oh, yeah, because Snowden happened under Obama. So Q is saying that Snowden leaking that, which harmed the NSA, was all part of their plan. Again, white hats are in control there. They didn't know that yet. Qschqql, catastrophic to U.S. military versus bad actors worldwide, or wizards and the warlocks, plus clowns in America. Again, basically Snowden helped the clowns, helped the CIA, harmed the NSA. We go deep on these Snowden digs with us, though he actually, Snowden 2, March 7th, Vault 7, harmed, crippled, blinded the CIA right when Trump got in office. So who's paying attention? Target and weaken conservative base through the IRS and the mainstream media. This was during Obama's years still. Open border, flood with illegals, win by votes. ISIS and MS-13 are your assets. They are funded and they are installed to cause fear and targeting, removal, and all this other crap. Blind eye, North Korea, nuclear buildup of North Korea to hold the president of the United States hostage. Okay, class 1-2, blind eye, Iran. Look at Iran's in there too, Tim.
Yep.
Fund and supply. Blind eye, class 23-41. Don't really know on that one. That is a 5-5 though. I've never caught that before. 23 is 5, 41 is 5. Stage SC. So this would be maybe, this is Supreme Court, because this one is Anthony Scalia. Anthony Scalia was a Supreme Court justice they had murdered, okay? Uranium 1 funding, supply, Iran and North Korea, plus reduce U.S. capacity of the uranium one, of uranium. This is what Obama was doing. Kill the NSA, preventing space dominance. Imagine how important it is, guys, with all the drones, all these missile strikes. This is what the space dominance is all about. Okay, now NASA's some bullshit, but you know what I mean? We have to have space dominance. That's
and what did Trump install in his his first term?
He created the 18th intelligence agency known as Space Force.
Space Force.
Beautiful. So prevent space domination. It allowed bad actors to take down military satellites worldwide, secure comms, and install weapons of mass destruction, because right on a satellite you could do that. Risk of EMP space origin helpless. So basically what Q was saying, by taking our space prominence away, what Obama was doing is our enemies could get an EMP, that's an electromagnetic pulse, onto a satellite. It could go over the United States theoretically and have an electromagnetic pulse on the United States and blackout. And if you guys have ever seen the studies, we talk about being prepared for blackouts and stuff, but if the United States was blacked out for almost just a week only, like 90% of the population would be near dead or not know how to do anything if they didn't have supplies. So again, we've been prepared for this a very long time. We're not going to be on that fear timeline, but this is what our enemies were certainly planning to do to us. Make no mistake about that. All right. We're cruising along, drop. We're going to keep going. Class 1-99. Q's always made that seem like that's highest classification. Here's all the shit HRC was going to do. World War III. Death and weapons would be real, but the war would actually be fake, a lot of it. Just like this Ukraine, other stuff. North Korea war would be fake, but we'd have real wars by people getting killed by bioweapons and probably sending our soldiers off to get killed by our own tax dollars. Okay. And controlled population growth control plus pocketing billions off the war. Okay, in the military industrial.
What's another term for growth control? Is that like knocking off the Patriots? Like just sort of let's get these guys out of our way. That's population control, I would think.
Yeah.
Kind of like Georgia Guidestone material.
Yeah,
Reduce
absolutely.
population.
Yep, for sure, because then they could control us easier with a smaller population. Other things Hillary was going to do: eliminate final rogue ops within government and military, kill economies, and that way they would make us all dependent on government. And hey, you can get this monthly stipend, yay! But make sure you get your vaccine. Okay, just like 1984, the book in the 1984 book, I think they get a vaccine or get an injection every week. Open borders, revised constitution, ban sale of firearms, Second Amendment removal, install on team Supreme Court justices, up to 2 or 3 of them, with just like Trump did, Hillary would have. Legal wins across the spectrum, challengers, basically a full left-leaning liberal Supreme Court. Removal of the Electoral College, they're still pushing this because if they have remove the Electoral College, they can just very easily steal the votes, right? Popular vote equals easier manipulation plus illegal votes and the Soros machines. Okay, Hillary was going to also limit and remove funding of our military. Closure of U.S. military installations worldwide, Germany first. Ironically, Trump's going to start closing our military bases around the world. The people that we don't need to be there anymore, and they aren't funding us. They don't care about us. They don't respect us. We're going to be removing that. Interesting. That's why we hijacked their 16-year plan. Tim's talked about that quite a bit too. Destruction of opposing mainstream media and other news outlets, censoring. Okay, Hillary Clinton openly talks about censorship. And all y'all anons, like Tim says, if the cabal was in control, we'd all be dead. We wouldn't be openly discussing all this shit with all of our Pepes across the world and all the different platforms. Booyah.
Yeah.
Okay. Class 1-559. That's an odd one too. 59 pops up in there again. Here's the open and closed bar. I always like to, that's a cool search one. That's in here. Again, pure evil. So that's also the kill box too. Pure evil. Narrative intercept. K4 AM message to the mainstream media. Sessions and Nunez are Russian ops. That's what the mainstream media was spinning. Republicans' distortion of facts to remove Mueller. POTUS free pass. I'm just going to keep reading. It's a little kind of hard to follow here. Shut down primary reasons. Distract. Weaken military assets. Include illegal votes. Black voters abandoning. Quote, keep them starved. Keep them blind. Keep them stupid. HRC, March 13th, 2013. Intercept. So that makes it sound like Q intercepted an email or something of Hillary Clinton saying this. We had a brilliant anon also that figured out these dates are IP addresses. So it's like 03.13.213 or some fashion that's an IP address. These dates would pop up, and then we get the Great Awakening, fight Q. So that was a big one, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on fire, brother. Keep going. A few more.
Okay. You want to try to read this one, Tim, this middle one?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so here we are, January 27th of 2018. It says, why would D's have Maxine Waters, MW, and the Q drops conduct a follow-up to the State of the Union? What is Maxine Waters used for? Reread past drops, mouthpiece, and controlled. And what a mouthpiece she is, eh? Woo! Carefully crafted out there statements with falsified fake Mueller drops will be made that nobody else would dare say or suggest. Very interesting. Pawn. What do they expect is coming? So there is a Q drop that says they know that we know, which means the world will know, right? Keep that in mind. What do they expect is coming? What must be said to provide a counter narrative? What might be said to attempt to discredit factual proofs coming? How do you keep people blind? What must you feed them? A narrative. Every mainstream media news station next week will be saying and pushing the exact same counter narrative. Fake news. Mueller, fake news. Russia, Russia, Russia. Should that fail, expect a major false flag to force a shift. Predictable, which means the Patriots are in control. They know their game plan. We see all, we hear all. Wizards and warlocks. These people are really dumb. Q.
Wow. Nice one, Tim. Thank you for taking that reading for a second and break it up a little bit. And Wizards and Warlocks is WW. So I saw WW over here, and I thought Wizards and Warlocks a couple times. I kind of stayed away from right here. Bad Actors, Wizards and Warlocks, National Reconnaissance Organization. And then here it is, comes over here. And the other thing that caught my attention is war is in the kill bracket, right? And also the word locks. So like we've been locked into wars our whole damn lives. And Trump is ending that. We're putting them in a box by countering all their moves, and they're running out of things. And then we also are dismantling with this narrative, our own narrative.
And what's a dumb? And what's a dumb? Dumb is capitalized.
Oh yeah, deep underground military base.
Yeah.
Also, a nice catch on that one too, Tim. So we're talking about high-level intelligence here. We got National Reconnaissance Organization. We'll just call them Space Force now. Deep underground military bases. All kinds of stuff in this comm here. Okay, and then, but really, this is to end all their wars and stuff too, but also cripple their infrastructure to come back on us, right? Because if you make a nuclear weapon, you can hold America hostage in ways. But if we prevent them from even being able to do that, that shit's gone, right? So we just eradicated. And Iran's really been a proxy for China, just like North Korea was. So Trump had to take North Korea out in their strings, cut their strings in the first admin. So that's a global game of risk been playing out before your guys' eyes since 2017, and it's been a crazy, incredible journey to observe and try to piece together and how beautiful the plan is, because none of us had any fucking idea when it all started.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's really incredible, guys. So let's keep reading because it gets juicier. Yeah.
So why don't you try? Can you try to read this top part, Mel? I'll read after the second line. So on the next Mueller drop. Yep, 643. We're on here, still in January of 2018. So Mueller hasn't come out with his report yet. Trump's been dealing with this. You got 2 straight years of the fake news media. Maybe I'll play that for our break. The walls are closing in. Walls are closing in. So here's this next Q drop, next Mueller drop, 643. Go ahead, Mel.
Narrative shift, and then nation on alert. Firing RR equals Black Mueller. Firing RR equals set up to firing Mueller. Firing RR equals red line.
Okay, so this is some interesting comms here, a little back and forth. This fan started going a little crazy here. So stand by here, stand by.
You can't hear it. You can't hear it too much.
You got autists around here. It might not bother you, but okay. So just to kind of recap where it was back in this time is, conservatives were pushing for Rod Rosenstein because Sessions was the attorney general. Okay, I'm gonna help you guys piece this all together. Sessions was the attorney general, and then he recused himself. So Rod Rosenstein is in charge of everything, and Trump is attacking Rod Rosenstein and all these kind of this stuff. Rah. So conservatives are calling for Trump to fire Mueller, or maybe even Trump, threatens to that. I'll fire him. The left said that would be a red line because that's like interfering, they're saying, then with the investigation into Trump. And this is moves and counter moves. Okay. I also think I have this weird feeling Rod Rosenstein is going to come back in the news in this next week or so.
Yeah, we have those images from no other than Mr. Truth Bomb, who actually put out that message.
Oh yeah, let's do that one, but right next, and then I'll dig up that little video of the Sinclair, the walls closing. Just take a short break, and we'll come right back. Okay. So here's the rest of this Q drop here, 643. What was the Senate confirmation vote regarding Rod Rosenstein? Anybody know that? I've said it a handful of times here before.
53-47 or
Rod Rosenstein got over 90% confirmation because he's from the swamp. I mean, that's the way Q makes people believe. He had the swamp, but Sessions only got confirmed by just the bare minimum, Republican versus Democrat. Okay. Why did RR beg Ryan, this would be Paul Ryan, to block the FISA memo from congressional review and further advancement? Now, you're going to kind of get some of this theme, and I'm giving you a high-level decode from all of our years of experience on Qschqql, guys. You're going to see the moves and counter moves of the Q team. They're going to say a misdirection in the beginning, but we're going to come full circle and wind up, it's actually going to be the truth. That's how crazy this plan is, if that will make sense. So why did Rod Rosenstein beg Paul Ryan to stop the FISA memo from congressional review and further advancement? This is the one that factually shows that Obama committed treason. Why would he block that? Well, when we think back then Rod Rosenstein is the bad guy, well, we're riled up, and the bad guys probably think Rod Rosenstein's still on their team, perhaps. I don't know. Okay, but then we come full circle, and we're going to find out Rod Rosenstein blocked it because it's part of the plan because we couldn't expose this yet because we had to go through this circus. So now that freaking 8 years later, when it finally comes around, the public is ready for it. The highest court in the land is the public court of public opinion. The people understand it. We're ready for it. We've also seen all this other bullshit. They're kind of like, oh, I guess they committed treason in 2016. Oh, shit, they are committing fraud over. Oh, shit, they did steal the 2020 election. Oh, shit, they are trafficking children. I mean, that's how this goes.
Yep.
So here's a Q proof too, real time. So Q is saying, and again, talk about this early on. The cabal is frightened to death of these Q drops. They're watching every drop. And now Q says real time, meaning right now when this drop is happening. This is a skiff. This is a skiff meeting right here. I'm just going to tell you that ahead of time. Congressional members, 7 congressional members plus 3 senators plus 2 former Obama senior officials plus 4 outside contractors with no classified top level security level clearance are at a skiff in DC Capitol, probably at Valerie Jarrett's skiff that I just mentioned. And this is in real time. Imagine how panicked you'd be, MelzieKaye, if you thought you were the cabal and you were doing something secret and Q drops that we know every one of you are in there right now. Think you'd be pretty scared?
I'd be
Especially when Q ends it with, we see you. We see you.
Top security clearance is mandatory for admission. How is that possible? We see you, Q.
Right?
This became proven a couple years after that by John Solomon. It was confirmed there was 4 outside contractors in a skiff meeting. I don't know if anybody could find that. Would be a juicy one. But that's a pretty interesting little connection there.
Wow.
Okay, so let's go to what were we going to show, and then I'm going to look at that.
Mr. Truth Bomb on Diggers, and then you were going to play a quick video, and you're going to see the connections between Rod Rosenstein, Sessions, and a couple other, let's say, actors in the movie. What makes a good movie great actors.
Yes. Speaking of which, oh my gosh, I don't even know what this is, but it's so funny, and we're going to do a 9-second comedy relief here for just a second while I'm looking for his X post. It should be near the top, but.
I love Elvis. I never met Elvis. Everyone said, did you? I met them all. I met Sinatra. I knew all of them. I never met Elvis.
Ooh, he never met Elvis. What were we saying, Tim?
I just said he never met Elvis.
Never met Elvis. Interesting thing to say. He met everyone, but he didn't meet Elvis. Look at that. Okay, Robert, here we go. RP, Robert Mueller. Here's Mr. Truth Bomb. Oh, he had it originally from July 4th. He reposted his own share. You want to read this one, Tim?
Look what he said at the top, though, before he reposted it.
Okay, so yeah, okay, I'll check it. RIP Robert Mueller, that part?
Yeah, rest in peace, Robert Mueller, Mr. Truth Bomb says.
Okay, and then you got this one, Tim?
Yeah, it says the band, the biggest sting operation in human history, part 2, quote unquote, all warfare is based on deception. Sun Tzu. What is kayfabe? In professional wrestling, kayfabe is a portrayal of staged events within the industry as real or true, specifically the portrayal of competition, rivalries, and relationships between participants as being genuine and not staged. Trust Sessions, ? Appointed John Durham to investigate crimes committed during the 2016 election on October 28th, 2017. Q's first post was on October 28, 2017. There are no coinkydings.
No coincidences. Let's go. Where'd everybody go? Okay. And then what's the rest of his thing there? Sessions. Oh, he's got more. I'm sorry. Keep going, Tim.
Trust Barr. Barr granted John Durham special counsel, SC, in the Q drop status to investigate that the Russia hoax that likely stemmed from a conspiracy by intelligence or law enforcement agencies, aka the deep state. Trust Mike Pence. Pence is from a military family and his son is in the Marines. As Trump's VP, he worked with acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller on historic special ops, which Miller said when speaking December 2020 at the commemorative first birthday of U.S. Space Force. Also, regarding J6, Pence can't make decisions about the fraud because it was never legally ruled as fraud as the courts passed on the cases. If it's not documented as evidence of fraud, then it can't be legally acted on as evidence. Pence's actions on J6 are part of the plan. Trust Grass.
Let me pause you just for a second. Let me see how long is this one. How long is this one? Might go along in front of it. So He gives a great assessment. So I'm going to leave it there. It's a little bit longer than I thought. I mean, unless you want to read this, then we could go back and forth.
Well, let's see if Mueller's in there or Rod Rosenstein. I think he's got Ray.
Trust Comey.
Comey.
I think if we go back and forth, it's not too bad. It's not super long. Giuliani's in there. Trust Mueller.
Oh,
Yeah, let's
Mueller.
keep going.
Okay, good.
You're at Grassley. I'll take over for a minute. We'll go back and forth. So, all right. So we're following this here. If this is Mr. Truth Bomb's assessment, we've just been covering this. What is kayfabe? Just like what Tim was talking about. The wrestling moves, all this, the theater. Trust Sessions, trust Barr, trust Mike Pence. And we got that. Okay. But Pence's actions on January 6th are part of the plan. Had to be, right? But that just 2.0s, however you understand that. Trust Grassley. Senator Chuck Grassley has confirmed that since Joe Biden was vice president, the FBI has maintained over 40 confidential human sources providing criminal information on the Biden crime family. So that's active people, guys. Grassley also documented FBI's sordid history of blocking and obstructing its field offices from investigating the mountain of evidence they compiled against the Bidens. Grassley flagged new evidence of suspected trafficking of migrant children for federal law enforcement agents and called for immediate action to find and rescue children placed in dangerous situations by federal officials. Quote, my office is working diligently with whistleblowers to identify as many missing children as possible in hopes they can be found and saved. Okay, that's still Grassley. I want to do this next part of Grassley, Tim, right here.
Yeah, Senator Chuck Grassley has been bravely fighting against child trafficking and child porn for years, and mentioned there were as many as 1,700 names involved when discussing his child porn investigation at the Department of Defense with Anderson Cooper on CNN on January 6th of 2011. Grassley and his investigations unit are subject matter experts on both whistleblower protections and the Biden family business controversies, which is why in 2023, a Democratic Senate chairman tried to shut him out from the Hunter Biden IRS whistleblower investigation. He also exposed Credit Suisse's historical servicing of Nazi-linked accounts and said it's time to bring UBS corruption into the spotlight.
Nice. Thank you, Tim, for that. So that's we're John Grassley still there. Okay. Now we're on Trust Mueller. Okay, Robert Mueller served as Marine Corps officer during the Vietnam War. He was wounded in action and received a Bronze Star for heroism and a Purple Heart. Do you believe Mueller's testimony to U.S. Congress before two House committees about the findings of his Russian investigation? House Judiciary Committee, which was scheduled to take place on the 17th of July, but was moved to the 24th in 2019. And the House Intelligence Committee that just happened to totally work in DJT's favor regarding no collusion, allowing Trump to declare complete exoneration. Again, you guys think this all would just happen like that and he'd look all silly? Like, come on. Okay. Also, Robert Mueller, as FBI director, was involved with the information Epstein turned over to the FBI as part of his non-prosecution agreement. Interesting. Okay. Did you know that Bill Barr and Robert Mueller have been close friends for 35 years? 35, JFK 35. Robert Mueller was appointed to the United States Assistant Attorney General in charge of the Department of Justice Criminal Division and led the investigation and prosecution of the entire Gambino crime family, including its leader, John Gotti.
That's a big boom.
That's a big one because that's also Durham is connected to Gambino. Interesting. I don't know if he'll come back with that. Mr. Trooper will come back on that. This was made possible by wiretapping and surveillance expert who supervised mafia investigations in New York, James Kallstrom, and also Rudy Giuliani, the most feared prosecutor in America. The friendship of James Kallstrom and Giuliani goes back to the 1970s when Giuliani was a young prosecutor and Kallstrom was a supervisory special agent in the FBI's New York field office. Kallstrom designed the complex bugging operation during the famous New York Pizza Connection investigation and the John Gotti investigation. Interesting. I want to go back with Giuliani right here, Tim.
Yeah, keep going because you're going to see in the next couple of Q drops where Rudy and Mueller connect.
Yeah. Do you want to take this part for a second?
Yeah.
Paragraph?
Yeah, sure. So Giuliani decided to prosecute the leaders of the families, members of the La Cosa Nostra, and their upper level cohorts together under the Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt, that's RICO for short. There it is right there, for allegedly conspiring to commit felonies, including contract murders, loan sharking, extortion, labor racketeering, and drug trafficking. Later in the 1990s, when Qsptics headed the New York field office, Giuliani was the city's mayor. This was perhaps the largest mafia investigation in American history and took place when Bill Barr served as Attorney General of the United States, his first stint. In 1992, John Gotti was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. John Gotti died in federal prison. This is significant because for decades, John Gotti was believed to be beyond prosecution, or AKA untouchable. His nickname was the Teflon Don, meaning that no one could ever make any charges stick, and the popular belief was that it was impossible to ever bring John Gotti down. Robert Mueller brought him down. Robert Mueller, under AG Bill Barr, led the prosecution that finally sent John Gotti to prison after more than 10 long years of trying. George W. Bush nominated Mueller to head the FBI just days before the September 11, 2001 attacks. Tough start for a new job. Has Mueller been investigating them the entire time?
Boom! Boom! I like it. I'll keep going here now. Trust Rod Rosenstein. RR. This would be a perfect transition if we get a chance to do the Rob and Bob drops right here too. But RR, okay,
yeah,
which is 1836. Trust Rod Rosenstein. RR. Rod Rosenstein is good friends with Bill Barr after working with him during 2 stints of the Department of Justice. Rosenstein referred to Barr as, quote, a brilliant and principled conservative lawyer. But why did Rod Rosenstein recommend the firing of James Comey to POTUS? Did the firing of James Comey provide the necessary vehicle to appoint Mueller? Because we needed because also that false pretext of meeting under the FBI director, which wouldn't have happened if James Comey was still there. Following the timeline, everybody? Kekis, Lamelo Pepis? Who appointed Mueller? Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein announced on May, what day, Tim?
That would be a 17.
What day did we do the Qschqql Q Plus Time Travelers on last year? May 17th. I'll answer that one for you, Tim. And what year is the big rally happening this year?
That would be the 17th.
May 17th, 2026. Let's go. Okay, that's when it was announced. May 17th. Probably Mueller's going to come up around that date. That'll be interesting. That Robert Mueller was served as special counsel, SC, to oversee the previously confirmed FBI investigation of Russian government efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election and related matters. Okay, anything that came off of that, and that was the classified secret scope that Rod Rosenstein expanded. We haven't got that information yet, but that's what happened. Did you know Rosenstein said he'd always considered Jim Comey, JC, a friend and mentor, someone he looked up to, and 3 days after James Comey had been fired as the director of the FBI, he said in private meeting with Andrew McCabe, number 2, on May 11, 2017, quote, the one person I wish I could talk to is Jim Comey, end quote. Interesting. You want to do Ray now, Tim? That's your specialty here, too.
Yeah, Christopher Ray. Trust Ray in the Q drops, but also keep in mind that there's a red X through Ray. There's the ultimate original picture of Ray, then the next one that comes up a little while after has the red X. So we're still playing this out. This is the moves and counter moves, folks. Kayfabe. Christopher Ray, Antifa mapping. Interesting because that's in the early Q drops. They already mapped out Antifa. Think Q drop 28, as a matter of fact. Trump's nominee for FBI director spent years working with and learning from James Comey, JC, and Robert Mueller. Did you know that Rosenstein and Ray also served together as senior appointees in the Justice Department, and Ray wrote a letter supporting RR, Rosenstein's nomination for Deputy Attorney General in 2017? Did you know that Ray and Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, Brett Kavanaugh, Both attended Yale College and later the famously small and insular Yale Law School. At the same time, both Ray and Kavanaugh joined the Federalist Society upon starting Yale Law and continued as members up through the Trump administration. RR also joined the Federalist Society and served alongside Brett Kavanaugh. Together, they were part of the Kenneth Starr Council team that investigated, guess who? Bill and Hillary Clinton, their aides and business associates. When he was a lawyer, Robert Mueller also worked on the Whitewater probe headed by Kenneth Starr and led to the impeachment of Bill Clinton. He was also involved in that. Unbelievable. Every member of the Supreme Court appointed by Republicans since Clarence Thomas in 1991 has been a Federalist. Trump has bragged that Federalist Society provided him the list of Supreme Court nominees, from which he has so far selected Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh.
Wow, I didn't know. This is really good to learn all this. I'm glad we're reading this too, because the Federalist Papers are a thing too from our founding fathers as well. So I'll go a little bit longer, a little bit more, and we're almost done. I got a good video for you guys to hear. So, but trust Comey, JC Corney. Anybody knows that one with the different fonts? You can't tell the difference between an RN and an M. So if you searched Comey, his name wouldn't appear in certain documents. Okay, does anyone else remember when on July 5th, 2016, so summer before the election, Hillary Clinton and Trump are going back and forth. We have Seth Rich is murdered in that summer, the DNC hack. Okay, let's see what he's going to talk about. Does anyone remember July 5th? FBI Director James Comey took the unusual step announcing that a year of meticulous investigation had turned up Clinton classified emails. He tried to walk it back, wink, wink, but the damage was done. Hillary Clinton had installed a personal email server in her home over which she conducted the country's freaking business. Some of the correspondence was deemed classified, and thus she was in violation of the law. And pay to play is when that's her foundation, too. That's a whole other thing. Okay. In July of 2016, Trump famously suggested, quote, Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 Hillary Clinton in the kill box emails that are missing, end quote. On that very same day, look at, I didn't know what was next, guys. On that very same day, 27-year-old DNC staffer named Seth Rich leaked the DNC emails to WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. And just to pause, to highlight, I want you guys to think for yourself, but you guys see the whole big plan here, this beautiful, like Trump says that to stir up the speculation that he's colluding with Russia. So the left and the media believe it fully, hook, line, and sinker. It's kayfabe. It's the art of war. It's look here, not there. Everything we've been talking about, it's all right here. All right? So it's beautiful. So anyways, the next day, he leaked that on July 10th, 7/10, that's the 17th. Seth Rich was shot to death in what authorities described as a botched robbery attempt. Done a lot of decodes on these, not for a long time. Seth was found lying on the ground, a block from his apartment. He had 2 bullet holes in his back, and his watch, wallet, and phone were all found on him, i.e. not a robbery. It was most likely an assassination by MS-13 gang members. We essentially even know who those gang members were. They were killed in South Carolina to get the rest of the money. Rosenstein's connected with some other dirty cops connections. 11 days before the election, in October of 2016, the FBI came into possession of some of Hillary emails that it had not seen previously, and Comey decided to go public about the fact the emails existed. I would, again, highly recommend the little mini-series. It's like a 4-part mini-series that originally was on Netflix. It's called A Higher Loyalty, just like the Q drop, the Y, the loyalty, Comey family Y. And you'll really understand the plan. You can see the white hats behind the scene in the series too, okay? So, but he talks about it, and the movie's great because he's like struggling. Should we announce this? What are we supposed to do ethically, morally, all the things? But if you pay attention, you're like, he's a white hat. Or 2.0, whatever you want to say. Comey decided to go public with the fact the emails existed. On January 6th, how about that date, 2017, though, so this is probably going to be about the unmaskings that happened, okay? President-elect Trump had a seating with FBI Director James Comey. Damn, this is crazy that I wasn't expecting this, because know we're covering a lot of information, but January 5th is the day that Joe Biden unmasked the FISA on General Flynn, Sally Yates, some of these other people. And then the January 6th, they meet privately to say we got to do it by, quote, by the book. That same day, Trump is meeting Comey secretly. Oh, come on. Come on, man. Okay. And several advisors. Let's see. President Trump elect. So he's not even president yet, right? President-elect Trump is a secret meeting with the FBI Director James Comey.
So let me get this right. He already met with Admiral Rogers. He already met with Mueller, and now he's meeting with Comey. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, Mueller would actually happen after this one.
Okay.
Because Comey has to step down first, and then he meets Mueller on the pretext of filling Comey's job, which he can't. Okay. I'll keep going with Comey here. I think we're almost done, guys. Also, and then I'll have to finish the rest there, Tim. Also, James Comey, by the way, James Comey's daughter was a lead prosecutor in Ghislaine Maxwell's child sex trafficking case and also worked on the sex crime case against Jeffrey Epstein. Again, the Q drops make it kind of seem like they're all in cahoots together, but did Ghislaine Maxwell get off? She sure didn't, did she?
They both got arrested.
But she also got prosecuted. She's got like 20 years. So Robert Mueller, former director of FBI, was replaced at the FBI by James Comey in 2013. Oh, a handoff back and forth to each other. Interesting. Remember, President Trump said he found it, quote, bothersome that Robert Mueller, the special counsel investigating Russian meddling in 2016 election, is, quote, very good friends with fired FBI Director James Comey. The whole thing, kayfabe, guys. We got everybody riled up. The left was, although they blamed Comey for allowing Trump to be elected, they were still like thinking he's going to get Trump. Then he stepped aside. They hated him again. But, Trump's making it spin like Comey and Mueller and plotting on him and all this shit, right? Beautiful. Okay, go ahead, Tim, on this. I think this is the last bit here.
Yeah, no, this is good history lesson too, because this ties in 9/11 and all that stuff too, and how far back these guys go. And it says in March of 2004, Comey, then Deputy Attorney General, was summoned to the hospital bed of his boss, Attorney General John Ashcroft. Ashcroft, weak from surgery, was under pressure from White House officials to sign papers reauthorizing the domestic surveillance program secretly launched after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. Comey called in help, asking Mueller, then the FBI director, and several top aides to meet him at the hospital. It was the start of a battle between the Justice Department and the White House. Comey said the White House renewed the program the next day without his approval, so Comey, Mueller, and several other officials made plans to resign. It was only when President George W. Bush agreed to listen to Comey and Mueller and restructure the program. Kayfabe is real. Optics are important. Oh my God, it's right there. The title of our show.
Let's go.
Oh, that's the title of our show today. Expect a lot more to become public. Unsealing. We are witnessing the biggest sting operation in human history, folks. FISA works both ways. RICO crimes, past and present. Patriots are in control. God bless DJT. God bless America. Nothing can stop what is coming. Oh my God.
Mr. Truth Bomb. Bam. Coming through. So here's these images. I was just talking on the thing last night. So when did he make this post? Oh, this is originally from July of 2024, I think. And then he reposted it. Let me double check. Oh, part 2 even. Anyways, that was
wow.
Yeah, July 4th. Oh, 2025. 11:17 a.m. Let's do a Qschqql. Hey, y'all want to do find that Mr. Truth Bomb? Say Qschqql sent us. I've been wanting to get on. I've been wanting him to put a Qschqql on one of his things forever. So, y'all get over there.
Just put say great work, MTB. Great work, MTB.
I love it. I love it. Whoa, got him.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so now the picture is really being painted now because, you know, this is how far it kind of gives you the bigger picture of how far back this plan really goes, right? And we still don't really know when it actually started. We can only make assumptions, but based on everything that we've read right there in that MTB's drop, plus the Q drops that we're going to continue reading a few more, you're going to see how this all links together, and it's through these Mueller Q drops where you can start piecing all of these connections together, connecting the dots. And it paints a totally different picture than what a lot of people are seeing on the surface versus what actually transpired and continues to happen behind the scenes. Military planning at its finest, brother and sister.
Boom. All right, let me show some of these pictures real quick, and I want or Mr. Truth Bomb. So here was these images I was just talking about last night. But here's an old one, Mueller and Comey. Again, Comey was. It went from Mueller, handed off to director to Comey. Comey was the director all the way until, I guess it's not that long, until 2017. All right, so there's that one. Here's the lovely one, too. Rosenstein, smiling, Bill Barr, Sessions, yucking up. There's the other guy always kind of behind the scenes. I can't think of his name. I feel like he's important. This one looks almost fake, but it's Comey, and there's Kavanaugh. Or not, that's Wray, excuse me. Christopher Wray, excuse me.
Yeah, all younger versions, all the younger versions.
There's Trump and Bill Barr there. Okay, so this part had, how did it say it? It said, Teflon's right there. So the Teflon Don, his nickname, the Teflon Don. Now check this out. This happened just a couple weeks ago. This little interviews from years ago, but it made some rounds more recently because future proofs past. Here's Trump asked about Epstein here. Listen what he says. He specifically says he's Teflon. He says he's Teflon, and that's what that reference is. So it's originally from this guy right here, John Gotti, was known as Teflon Don because no one could ever get charges to stick. The popular belief that it was impossible to ever bring him down. So Teflon Don, that's also Donald Trump. He's the Teflon Don because they can't ever get him either, right? Nothing sticks. So he's moved the cameras and think mirror here, but check this out. Here's right here.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're
them.
friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
Okay, so there's that little clip right there. And then I know we're getting a little long, Tim, but I was maybe going to... let me just stop here just for a second. I know you want to do a few more Q-posts.
Just a couple more of the middle Q drops and we can wrap it up. And it looks like Justin Bouvier he just dropped that wonderful Q drop, $35.99, a higher loyalty. It kind of it really intertwines. That's awesome. Awesome dig, brother.
Q drop $35.99. Thank you. Shout out to Justin A. Bubble. By the way, all your great decodes and everything. That's all you amazing digital soldiers too. I see you all. Luann, Jedi, Fred McIntyre, seeing you popping over on YouTube. Thank you guys. Forgive us if we can't always get to the comments. Try and always at least read them when I get a chance. But Q drop $35.99, a higher loyalty. There's another one too with its the Y. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the harvest crop has been prepared and soon will be delivered to the public for consumption. A higher loyalty. Y in the kill brackets. Hunters become the hunted. Treason, sedition. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Bubble for that.
Q drop $35.99 for all of you that want to go to the board right now and read the whole thing. It's all there. Thank you for dropping that. So let's
little gotcha there. Teflon Don equals 138. Donald Trump's 138. Awesome. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, let's just in the interest of time, let's go through maybe another 2, 3, maybe 4 more Mueller drops in sequence, in order, and then we'll try and wrap it up.
Yeah. And I think we might have to just do a second one. If not, tomorrow we'll try to come back to Robert Mueller and them. I think that'll be a key thing. Not going to maybe get to do the decode, but his middle name is Swan.
We're not going to be here tomorrow. We're going to be here Wednesday.
I know, right? Okay, Wednesday.
Unless you want to play, maybe we can dig up an old recording of us.
Yeah, I'll try. I think I'll try to do that still, but that would definitely help if we kind of get some days. But we got to just make sure we get everything done when we get back together too. But anyway, 17 days after the Russian guy had the black swan on his tweet, Robert Mueller. Friday would be the 20th. That was day 16, but it was announced publicly on the 21st. So 17 days after the Russian guy posted the black swan, Robert Swan Mueller passes away at 81, which is R backwards, right? 18 too. So I just want to add a few more of those connections. Let's get back to Q alerts. I'm going to go to Mueller for us. And we'll do a couple more drops here and then wrap it up.
Interesting middle name. Melzie was mentioning that before we went live, like Swan. Who would have a middle
Very
name?
odd.
Swan?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
Yeah, very odd. Okay, so let's go to these drops.
Yeah, I think we're getting closer. You're muted. We're getting closer to the Rudy connection to Mueller.
Okay. All right, right on here. So we've knocked out a few. 570 is a little long, but it's really good. 636. You did this one, right, Tim? Yeah. Okay, we did that one because then Melzie did 643. So we're knocking them out, guys.
Yeah.
Here's a long one. We'll skip this one, but let's see what it says here. Future-proof.
Oh, that's a good one, brother.
Okay. Let me. All right, I'll just read it. So, because this doesn't look familiar to me at all so much. I've maybe seen it once in the past, but it's not ringing a bell so much. We get a 5.5 in here on the timestamp. 5.9 in there again. Okay, there, quote, there is no allegiance in this indictment that any American was a knowing participant in this illegal activity. Interesting, American. Rosenstein said there is no allegation in the indictment that the charged conduct altered the outcome of the 2016 election. Future proofs past. This is all from Q.
And that's why we're here today. Future proofs past.
Exactly, right? February 16, 2018. In an effort to preserve the integrity, in an effort to preserve the integrity of all U.S. elections, as ordered by the President of the United States, after an extensive investigation into select counties, the sampling, this probably relates to that Qdrop 14, Tim. He formed the panel. Yep. The DHS has concluded that while Russian entities, as outlined within S.C. Mueller's investigation, were complicit in attempting to undermine the presidential election of 2016, had no effect, no direct impact or bearing on the outcome of the presidential election, nor were any U.S. persons knowingly a part of such an attempt to sabotage as it relates to the Russian investigation, U.S. and foreign entities, as further described within DHS. We get 4 X's. That's interesting, like a number's blocked out. Okay, this thing goes for a long time, but I'm going to keep going, trying to understand it all with you guys. But this is February of 2018, so this is before the Mueller report comes out. It comes out like summer of 2018. That sounds right to me, or was it 2019 even? So this is way ahead, and that probably so far ahead, other anons probably didn't even find this, because for sure the Mueller report's not out by this date. I'm almost certain. So Q's like calling the shot here already to say that his report will say, yes, they were complicit in attempting to undermine the election, but ultimately it had no direct impact or bearing on the outcome of the presidential election. We know that to be true now. And U.S. persons were not knowingly part of such an attempt to sabotage it as it relates to Russia investigation, U.S. and other foreign entities described in this thing. Acting outside of Russian agents did attempt on numerous occasions and were successful in interfering in the presidential election of 2016. It's saying they had no direct, okay, by the way, it says no direct impact. So this is still the same sentence. It's saying no direct impact of acting outside Russian agents, attempting all this other stuff to successfully interfere with the election. It didn't happen. Or Senate elections of XYZ, X elections whereby several million of illegal non-resident ballots, quote, the irregularities were counted, while legal ballots were improperly tabulated and or intentionally mishandled. We believe these actions were a coordinated attack against the democracy of our country. This fucking job is crazy, Tim. I don't remember this job at all. This is crazy. The DHS will be submitting a final report to the White House and DOJ, or White Hats, and other state and local agencies, outlining our findings as early as March. Why is there a blank in there? 2018, kill bracket, open and close, just like the Mueller job we read. Yep. While this report only encompasses a sampling of 22, we also read that was Qdrop 570. It's one of 22.
One of 22 sessions.
Right here. Boom. 570. One of 22. Wow. This is crazy.
It is.
Right? And then while the report only encompasses a sampling of 22 countries across the U.S., it is strongly suggested, based on the evidence provided, that a mandated countrywide investigation began under the recommended US 50 EIC, I think that's election, right? Election integrity something, guidelines, as set forth in Section 7 of the final report. Furthermore, based on our immediate findings, we recommend the adoption of 8 EFGHS be made immediately to combat sources and methods currently being deployed to ... destroy the United States of America. The remainder of this page is intentionally left blank. Holy shit, what is that from, man? That's like his scope. One other future proofs passed with this shit, guys. When they made the emergency authorization for the vaccine, what's it say?
No, I was trying to reply.
New movie, Jackson. Okay, but this last little bit, guys, full circle, is when COVID happened, we got the, and then the vaccines came out. Because it was an emergency authorization, technically still an experiment, it was a double-blind study. If you asked for the ingredients, it would say the page intentionally left blank. That was actually on the vaccine script if people wanted the ingredients. It said intentionally left blank. And this has the election stuff, which 2020 was when the election was stolen. So I'm not even quite sure how to read like where this is from. You guys could probably copy paste and put this in something and see if it's out there outside of this Q drop. I don't even know what to make of that one. That one blows my mind. That was a good one.
Yeah. It's unbelievable how this unfolds when you go through them in order.
Okay,
even this one here. I mean,
Yeah.
because this is how the deep state works, right? They try to spin off of all the like you said, they feared the Q drops, right? That's why we became the most second highly attacked entity on the planet versus DJT being number one attacked worldwide. Q was the second most attacked entity. And what they try to do is they try to shove these certain names in, and they try to tie it all together, right, and make it look like a conspiracy theory. And that they're, you know what I mean? This one explains it.
Yeah, and what you're seeing here in this post too, this is early on. So this is also now the Q, your anons were getting attacked, even though at this point we wouldn't consider the Q. Q wasn't considering yet because the rally, it was in the summer of 2018 where the guy holds up the thing, "We are Q," all by design. So we're not there yet. So this is still, although the community was moving, it was big and it had a following and this rapid. We were already interacting on Twitter. This was still early on, but still the anons would get attacked by black pillars and your shills and your faggots. And this is what they said. Jeff Sessions exposed, 520. Q, agent of the clowns in America, saying Q is a CIA op. Jeff Sessions, agent of clowns in America equals Hillary Clinton. I don't know what the hell that's all about. 8chan Q have been comped big time. This one still floats around. They say it has Israeli IP addresses, all this dumb shit. This post tell it all. So here's the attacks, 8chan.net, all their hit pieces. 8chan Q have been comped. Do not trust anything Q says. He is a clown agent of the Kabbalah. 8chan also has been comped by the clowns in America. I can just have a feeling on this one, even though he's attacking. This might even be Q in some fashion, but there was many shills that would attack like this. This one might be Q themselves. So is that spelling normal there? That's interesting to me. Jeff Sessions, Mueller, Comey, Ray, Trey Gowdy, Obama, Hillary Rosenstein, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Y'all see the names. I'm not going to read them. John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Harry Reid, and more equal all clowns in America agents of the banking cartel trying to take down America. Obviously, we're showing how many of these people might actually be white hats or actors on the stage. Optics are important. Okay, scumbag Sessions. And again, people thought Sessions was fake because not a patriot because he recused himself. So they thought he abandoned Trump. But it's this more beautiful plan. We also then get Huber because of this. Like Hugh paints many times, a second special counsel would have never worked. Unless, of course, we actually did that. We're waiting until now. Wait, you'll find out. Okay, and then Q responds. You want to do this one, Tim?
Yeah, that's an easy one. You failed. You failed.
Okay, clowns all trying to do their bullshit.
Yep.
So let's do this one. I think this will be a good one to maybe end on because the military, we have stuff with the border. We have ICE agents in our airports now. The election is relevant too. Are we going to have, ICE is already in the airport, so where are we getting, the illegal aliens are self-deporting. We're cleaning up at the airports, all these other places. They're not going to be voting at all. So think about all these things currently playing out. This Q drop from April 2nd 2018. So we'll probably come back to this when the Delta's in a week or so, but just pay attention to everything playing out. We'll let you want to do this one, Tim? It's pretty easy, straightforward.
Yeah. April with the capital A
Here we
in
get the
Qptics.
5-9 again. Sorry to cut you off again. 5-9 or 9-9 again. 9-8-8 on these is just some stuff I caught. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
No problem. April with the capital A in kill brackets. IG report, Sessions public attack, RR problems, seals broken, arrests with another capital A in the kill box. Why was Huber made public? Why now? Everything has meaning. A1, tarmac, Iran, North Korea, Uranium One, FBI, DOJ, Mueller, election integrity, immigration bill, border, wall, military start, big month, Q.
Nice, Tim. Boom. And there's just so much to that. This Q drop's embedded in another one. I think 1010. Or actually, the anon spaces out, but that's a really juicy one.
What are the next three below that? I just want to see if Rudy pops in.
So here we go. 989 is this one. The one Tim just read's embedded. Q responds to it. Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, Google, ... Big problems, Q. See how that plays out. It's already played out. We got some other ones here. We got two more we can kind of rip through. Q drop 990. Anon says, I still follow your lead on all this as we are today, relying more on the inquiry of those digging here. Excuse me. That's like us, Qschqql family. We have our digging circles. We stick to the real anons, us patriots, us MAGA, not these FAGA and shills and these big influencers with their bullshit following. Okay, I still follow your lead on all this, talking to Q, relying more on inquiry of those digging here. But March wasn't nearly as mad as what you sold us. Please don't build us up to break us down, Q. I've had a lot of theories for a long time when it's like this too. This may be Q talking to us right here. But Q responds and just says, NK. Let's think this is not North Korea here. Would that be what kind of response makes sense with NK with like two words? Not knowing? I don't know. Anyways. The next one here, 991. Want to do this one, Timbo? 991 here?
Yeah, sure. It says tippy top shape, tippy top shape, tip top tippy top shape. Sorry,
Tip top.
It was requested. Yeah. Did you listen today? So
which is
I don't know why these are in the Mueller drops. I'm just trying to think.
Oh yeah, that is kind of interesting. What's up with that? For sure. The other thing that caught my attention is this. That's how Trump says it. The first time he said, sometimes we keep it in tip top. Some people say tippy top shape.
Yeah.
And then now he just said that recently in 2026 too. So I know anons are on top of that. So we're coming up on this Delta, and so that's really interesting on that too. All right. And then. Well, this basically kind of paints the whole picture too, and we're getting closer to April. I think we should save these for next time. Yeah. We've gone a long time, but this is a big part here though. On 4/4, that's a really important date for us too. A special episode, Q drop 10008. It was not supposed to be revealed. POTUS is not under criminal investigation, not yet. These are comms to anons, deeper decodes. This is how we see the big plan. Because it kept continuing on, even though Trump was already not a target. That's the kayfabe. And that's why if you read between the lines, the memo got expanded and they really are going after other people. And it's probably had to come to this point to get there. Or, again, think mirror. Q told us over and over it would be a terrible idea to do a special second counsel because it takes so long. But what if they did do a second special counsel and it's going to come out now? I don't know. Nobody really knows, but either way, all this shit's coming out. It's all this beautiful plan. Hopefully we've been able to help you guys understand it with all the kayfabe and the back and forth and the actors on the stage and the comms and plus,
Yeah, everything has meaning, Brother Kyle. And that's why I'm glad we got through quite a few of those Mueller drops. I mean, you guys can, maybe later tonight or in the next day or so, keep reading through the Mueller Q drops, and a lot of them are really thick. I mean, a lot of them have the abbreviations in them, like Kyle was referring to, and some of these names will start popping out or appearing, how they all connect, and how, you see all the behind the scenes moves and counter moves, and what Q is actually really setting the stage, for what is about to come and the reasons why back then they had to do it the way they did. And that was basically, ultimately, was to set trap after trap after trap in order to corner the deep state into a position where there was nowhere for them to run, nowhere to hide, and they have it all. When we have it all, it has to be done right. We have one shot at this. It has to be done according to the law. And now as we go into the next phase of this, we're going to see all the fruition of the fruits of the fruition and all the hard work and all the decoding and everything that we've gone through for all these years will start to come out step by step, drip by drip, through all these grand jury and RICO investigations, grand jury investigations going on with the grand conspiracy stuff, which goes back all those years that we have been covering to this point, which is really phenomenal.
Nice, man. You covered all of it. You just nailed them left and right, weaving in and out like we're doing.
Yeah.
Great job on you, brother.
Yeah, you too. You too. Well, that was a pretty good one, you guys. I don't know about you guys.
It was.
My brain's starting to turn a little bit mushy right now. But anyway, so we'll be back live on Wednesday because the new schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But, it's up to Kyle and Melzie on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll play a little a recap or one of our older Qschqls that is relative either to the date or to the news or that kind of thing, because it's all quantum, right? So Kyle, anything up your sleeve for tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe just make sure you got notifications and stuff, guys. A lot of moving parts. And Tim, I'll keep in touch with you too if we can kind of get some stuff done, because then next week too, I'll talk more private with you, Tim, too. Next week we'll have to make some adjustments.
Are you going to do some time traveling in the future?
We're going to do some time traveling. There may be some things happening here. We'll see what happens. But
right on.
We'll just work together. Just make sure you guys got notifications. Thanks for sending out all of our lives, wherever y'all watching from. I think Instagram maybe got kicked out a while back, but if y'all watching Facebook, YouTube, lots of guys over on YouTube, guys and gals, lots of gals. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Love, love, love. Make sure you send the live out to somebody you think might be interested. That's the best way we get followers, because we keep it real and doing all the decodes here. But we're just winging it, so we're digging out where we relying on the Pepes to spread the message. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we do. We love all of you. So anyway, we'll see you in a couple of days. And in the meantime, keep your heads on a swivel. Stay on track. Stay on mission. And we look forward to hooking up with you guys again on Wednesday. Love, 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 everybody.
Love, 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 brother. All right, so I was going to do that one where they were saying the wall's closing in, but we'll save that for now. We're going to do fourth PSYOP group, because that's who's really running this kayfabe and everything along with it. So I'm going to wrap it up on the way out. Fourth PSYOP group. Shout out to all of our amazing digital soldiers and all the other people helping win the spiritual war we're in, World War III. Love y'all. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Make sure you got notifications for us. Love, love, love.
There are many people in the world who really don't understand. Freedom has many difficulties, but we have never had to put a wall up to keep our people in. Freedom is indivisible. And when one man is enslaved, all are not free.
Modern war has become a struggle for men's minds as well as for their bodies. Today we face an enemy who spends enormous sums of money and manpower all over the globe in an attempt to subvert the thinking of the people of the free world, to confuse, divide, and ultimately to subjugate.
It is a contest unlike any we have ever faced in our history as a nation.
Contest for the minds and hearts of people around the world, all people.
When power corrupts, poetry cleanses. We must never forget that art is not a form of propaganda. It is a form of truth.
Psychologists find that control of emotions can be gained by understanding the stimulus-response pattern. Many everyday things become associated with these primary stimuli, partly by a process called conditioning.
It's a strange, shadowy world. The doctored photograph, the misquotation, the insinuation, and the lie.
I think of fire in connection with emotion. Cause, effect.
You've got to get a hold of yourself. We have to work together. You have to help.
We'll light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world.
Yes, in modern warfare, our military leaders are finding that words and ideas are highly effective weapons.
Aging, unemployed, estrogen-filled lunatic Keith Oberman came at Riley Gaines saying that she didn't have any sports accomplishments, and the thrice-fired ESPN host, who now does a podcast out of his broom closet in his studio apartment in New York, got destroyed. Watch.
So let's go through it. SEC title, second in the country. This is my SEC Community Service Leader of the Year award, which actually got me a lot of money. Oh, another SEC title, an NCAA trophy. Oh, look, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. Believe it or not, I'm pretty smart. Another SEC title, another NCAA trophy. Oh, that's when we won.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, if we finally beat Medicare.
Oh yeah, love, everybody. See